Everybody hanging out and chilling out tonight. Happy Saturday evening. So today was a very eventful day. Starting right from when I woke up, things things went good and then they went bad. So yeah, it was one of those days. So um, you know, Galloway Lights stopped by. That was a good thing. We had fun hanging out and chilling out and um, doing things. And then I had disaster happen, and yeah, it happens to all of us, guys. And I'm ashamed to admit it, but so I started making splits, and the other day when my bees came in, and I made a few yesterday, and I had a bunch in the bank. A bunch of queens in the bank, but let me show you what happened. Give me a second. I try to be very transparent on my channel and share everything that happens good, everything that happens not so good, and this is not so good. So the bees were on the queens and they were loving them, but these are dead queens, guys. 26 dead queens. So it could have been a variety of reasons. I'm not going to speculate. I've always had good luck with Jose's queens, and this is not a Jose's queen problem. It could have been a shipping issue. Don't know what temperatures they got to, while they were being shipped. They did arrive alive, though, so there was that. I've always banked my queens in the same method, and I lost 50% of them. So 50% of my queens are no good. They're dead in there. So they couldn't have got stung too. So only thing is they could have overheated or starved. That's the only things I can come with on those, and that is what it is. And I contact Jose and talk to him because I'm not blaming Jose. It's not Jose's fault. But I did tell Jose what happened just to let him know. And being the guy he is, he said, "Hey, I'll send you out some more queens." And I told him, "Nope, don't send them to me. Not this, we're going to get them in the spring." So he's just crediting my account, and I'll get 26 queens in the spring. And I'm happy with that. He's happy with it, and he took care of me. So, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It is what it is. I mean, we just live, learn, and move on. There, no need to cry about it. Jose, definitely, it's not his fault. Don't know what happened. They just did not make it. And, they always send you a few extras because they realize that something will happen somehow. And he didn't give me a theory. He didn't know. Those were all banked queens. They were in the box. So I pull out a box to make splits and look at them, and there's bees on it, and you start pulling the box apart, and there's like 2 or 3 alive on each set. So it just is what it is, So that's what we did. We just keep it moving. I still was able to make 26 splits, I think. Let me pull the calculator up. And 28, sorry. So 26 dead out of 54 leaves 28. I made 28. Will they all make it? Don't know. Probably did, because they're riding around in a UPS truck from 5 in the morning until noon, right? 7 hours at 90 something degrees. But, they had water, but they didn't have food necessarily. So, no telling, guys. Again, Jose definitely took care of is taking care of me, so not a big deal. No, not all of them. Not all of them. Matter of fact, well, I made 28 splits, so over half of them survived. It's just the ones that were in there the longest didn't do as well. So again, it's mostly probably my fault. I'm not getting the splits made timely, but you work. So what do you do? And then you do lives. So it happens. But anyway, the link is pinned, guys, right up there. So if you want to come on in and see, hang out for a little while and chat. Talked to Brad a little bit today. He's harvesting, pulling, doing things in his yard. Yeah, you just don't know what it is, DC. What did it? So they flew from California here. You don't know the conditions in the truck, in the warehouse, if they were tossed to each other. You just don't know. So and the splits, you don't know if you made splits, if they're gonna make it or not. So it's just is what it is. And we keep it moving. So will the splits make it? Don't know. We'll see what happens. I did get some syrup out today, get some syrup on my smaller colonies. So we're gonna see. We're gonna believe. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna believe we did everything we could do, and make it happen. Make it happen, guys. So everybody's in the chat tonight. Nobody wanting to click the link and come in. Yeah, you just do what you can do, and that's everything. That's with everything, right? I had to go buy sugar. I bought 200 pounds of sugar. Cost me $137 or something like that with the tax and all. So I ran out of syrup. I used my last bucket. Sam's got some. I could go get it from him if I run out of the sugar I bought. But, I want to get syrup in the colonies. Hey, Shane. Man, Sam was talking very highly of your floral blooms up there today when we finally got him. And yeah, we were just hanging out today. So come on in, click the link. I talked to Todd today. You got 500 pounds on hand. Good. Hopefully you got a great price on it. The bees don't really care, right? It could be floor scrapings. They don't care. I don't know why my YouTube always defaults to 360 or something. Asian Hornet Trap Distributor. That's right. That's right. We gotta get some Asian Hornet traps now. I hope the Asian Hornets. It'd be nice if they actually killed like hive beetles. That'd be awesome. That'd be an awesome thing. So let me see. Nobody wants to come in. This could be a short live stream tonight if we're not going to hang out. But let me see. I've got massages. Let's see with the massages. Charlie. Speaking of which, there he is. Charlie. Oh, you're muted, Charlie.
How about now?
You sound good now. You got your ears lowered today?
Nah, I did that a couple days ago. So what the heck happened?
Don't know. I've always banked my queens like that. Last year I banked my queens like that all the time. So don't know exactly what happened. but the queen is in the bottom. They should have been far enough away from the queen to where it wasn't a problem. And I don't know. They had bee coverage, so they should have been getting taken care of.
Hey, Shane.
But
I don't know. I mean, I never have any experience banking queens, but
you're talking about I got them on Thursday. Today is Saturday. So Thursday to Friday is 1 day. Well, Wednesday to Thursday, 1 day, right? Thursday to Friday, Friday to Saturday. That's only 3 days. So I don't know when they were caged and all that stuff, but that should have been that should have been all right. It's only 3 days. I've kept them in there for a couple of weeks before.
No, I'm talking about, I don't have any experience on that. Where should you have them in a completely queenless hive?
Well, I mean, I've never done it in a completely queenless hive.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've always done it like that with the queen in the bottom, and is what it is. It was a gamble. I lost on that. So, and I really didn't lose because Jose is going to replace those queens anyway. So it's not a loss.
What's his opinion on that? How he says that normally works?
He said he would send the queens out this year if I wanted to go ahead and make the splits, and then he would mail them out to me and replace them, or he could do it in the spring. And I said, just keep them till the spring. That way I know for a fact that they'll, be taken.
Yeah, but did you ask him, your method, was it?
Yeah,
he said it was fine.
Yeah, it should have been fine.
Well, but he says it's fine. It's just something went wrong.
Yeah, so Shane, in the they had attendants on them in the queen bank, and they had a
Shane, what it amounts to is they come in queen just in the cage, but they're in a battery box.
No, they're not in a battery box. They're in a cardboard box that's got screen on the ends, and there's like a Tampax or a pad in there, right? That's soaked with water, absorbed water, or a diaper or something like that.
Right.
So the attendants can get water. There's no feed in there, just that, right? And they're basically 14 of these things.
It's the same idea as a battery box where you dump the bees in there on the outside.
Well, yeah, there's 14 of these, and I'm trying to get them organized. And they have the candy is all on one end like that, right? And they've got so there'll be a piece of cardboard over these, right? Over the candy, so nothing can get to the plug. And then that cardboard covers up the bottom half of the tube. So the attendants come on top of it and they cover the outside. But the way they do it is they send the queens like this. There's no attendants in the cage, but they put attendants in the box with them. And then when you bring them and put them in the new colony, you set them in there, and the queen or the nurse bees from the colony come up and cover them up, which is exactly what happened. But for some reason I don't know if they overheated or who knows. It could be a million things. So
well, I mean, there's one thing about it. If Jose is going to back them up, I mean, I've heard some say, well, they were alive when you got them, and oh well, they're your baby.
Yeah, Jose is like, yeah, I'll ship you new queens. It's not a problem. I didn't even ask him. He said, I'll send them to you. But if you're getting them in the fall, let's go ahead and make the splits. And then when they get there, then put them in.
But he's going to back his stuff up, which is good.
Yeah, he's going to back it up.
He's the guy that you want to buy your queens from.
And I've never had problem with Jose's queens. So it's either something I did, or they just overheated, or they got overstressed in transit or something. You just don't know, So it is a long flight, and then they got to ride in that truck, which is probably, you don't know. They might have taken that, you get all these different boxes, and they might have had boxes on both sides of the vent holes and everything else, while it's riding around. So you don't know. And we just keep it moving that way. So what
Well,
you
it's
do
like,
today?
I know that I watched the one guy put a presentation on. He's a bee producer, package producer down in Georgia. I can't think of the name of the company, but anyway, they were talking about like the UPS people. Well, they get these UPS guys and they wanted to take the driver out of his route. And they put a new guy in there. And well, he's petrified of bees, even though they're in a cardboard box, just like what you're talking about. He's like, I ain't, forget this, well, guess what? The old driver, they put him back on his route. He's used to it. He knows what's going on.
Right.
You get somebody like that, once it's out of his hands, though, that's the problem.
So it's just, it is what it is, man. There's no, can't cry about it. Just,
I mean, we figure he's probably harvesting queens. They've been in that cage for at least 2 days.
Well, it was my full intention to get out there first thing this morning and make those splits. And I don't know, because whenever I popped the top off, all I could see is bees on top of them, right? So they looked like they were being taken care of. And they might have been alive this morning. I don't know. And had I made it earlier in the day, maybe they would have done better. But it wasn't, right? That wasn't the case. So I had Galloway Lights showed up, and we hung out today. I didn't know he was coming, but he showed up, and we hung out. And I should have threw him a jacket, and we should have just started splitting bees, right? And but that's not what happened. So 2 days. I thought between today and tomorrow I could have just knocked it out. It would have been no problem. Thanks, Paul. We just got these Guardian suits, and now we have to buy space suits to fight the Hornets.
Now, is that the newest bee out? The yellow-legged something another bee instead of the Asian hornet that like is around here?
It's supposed to be like the cousin of it or something. I don't know. Till I see one or I have a problem with it, I'm not worried about it. I haven't seen any Asian.
I was in the tractor today, and there was it was one of them in that cab. It was because I was going in and out, and I got him. He was up trying to get through the glass, of course, and I took my hat off and I smashed him, but they're about that long. They're hard. The exoskeleton is really hard.
So I'm wondering, today was the day everybody did the Tractor Supply deal. I wonder how everybody did at their sale at the Tractor Supply.
Why, they were selling honey or what?
Yeah, they had that national farmers market or whatever day at Tractor Supply. So people were able to register and then go and sell their honey at the Tractor Supply. And today is National Honeybee Day, is what I'm seeing. But I pity the people that put out hummingbird feeders out here, because they're going to be getting mauled by my bees. They're within my flight area. Uh-oh, sneeze. So I let old Frank try that ghost pepper honey after I dumped the whole thing of ghost pepper powder in it. So it was pretty
Was he vacationing your way or what?
Yeah, he was going down to Florida, and I guess they started having brake issues on their vehicle, so they came over and went to um, went. Said his wife went and got the brakes fixed over at Firestone, and he sat here and hung out with me all day today. So we just hung out and went to see Sam down there, and not much else really. Just hung out, and then once he right before he left, I put out that feed, and then he took off to go to Florida. They're going down to Universal down there.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see. Last I heard from Grammy, I think she paid for most of her tip.
Trip.
Yes. Trip. No, that's good. I didn't even sit out there with any honey today, and it was a reasonably nice day out there. But I I talked to Brad today, and we got video chat, and I showed him the queens, and he he was he went and sat down in his motorhome, and he's like, "Damn it, Bob, I don't even feel like doing anything now that I've sat down for a minute." I said, "Well, I'll let you get back to work." It's what you get when you don't spend all of your money on new toys, Lee. That's funny. No, it wasn't. He was inside, and he came out after I turned it off. I gave him a call. I'm like, "Where are you at?" He's like, "I'm watching your video." I'm like, "You're watching my video, and we're talking about finding you." And then he came out, and we went through a couple colonies, and Frank looked at some of his bees, and Sam's apiary is not that many bees over there now, and so he I said, "Sam, what are you gonna do? Your bees are going to lie." He says, "I'm getting too old to have all them bees." So I don't know if he's starting to look at retirement, or if he's starting to just scale down and do it a little bit, or I don't know what his plans are.
Well, what was his normal amount?
He usually sells around 100 nukes a year. And so
he's got at least 100 nukes sitting around.
5 years ago, he had 100 colonies. I think he's got a diminishing return on the way he does his business. And run your business how you want to. That's how he wants to. But because he doesn't like buy queens or anything like that, it's he's constantly keeping small colonies and making splits, right? So you're always stealing your resources all year long. Like in the beginning of the spring, when I was looking to expand, I didn't have the resources to make splits to grow my colonies, right? So when you make those splits and you make a 1 or 2 frame split, and you're waiting on the queens to get mated and come back, and you're cutting out cells, and you're constantly moving those and making small splits, your big colonies suffer because you're constantly robbing their resources, which is holding them back, right? So in doing that, over time, as you sell those, well, your main colonies that you're pulling everything from are diminishing. And that's kind of what's happened year after year. He's kind of yep.
I was reading
hold on.
Ed,
we got the loop, brother. And I just got to mute it right now. Hold on. You there?
Still
got there now. I shut the whole thing down. It wouldn't mute.
Okay. I don't know why we're doing ourselves.
Yeah, I think we're doing good now.
Well, for you, we can when you talk, there's no echo. But when we talk, it comes back through your signal.
Huh.
Turn the volume off on YouTube.
I shut YouTube all the way down.
I don't think so.
There's no YouTube up.
Did you minimize it?
No, I shut it down. I got one screen up. All right, let me go out.
Well,
if he's using his headphones, then why has he got the speakers on?
I don't know. It shouldn't be coming through like that.
No, I was reading the honey. Where is he at? The honeybee compound, and I'm sure he's talking about queens. He says he had 21 out of 38 take, I guess, emerge, and 13 of them made it back. Well, it is August, and
I have very little drones out there.
well, the thing of it is, most queen breeding around in this area here, time you go through July, everybody quits. Usually it's May, June, and July, and that's the 3 months you got to do it in, and that's it. So if he got 13 back, he's doing pretty good.
So Sam's system there, if he were to either buy queen cells right out of the rip, or I don't want to tell him to buy nukes because he can make nukes, but the thing is that you have to let them get strong enough to where you can rob the resources out of them. And my thing is, if you've got a 5-frame hive and you split it, now you have to wait for that 5-frame hive to grow back in strength to be able to take another one out.
A 5-frame hive, and you're going to split that?
Yeah, he does it all the time. So he'll take like a 5-framer, and he'll take a frame of brood out of it, or eggs, and then he'll make another one to get walk away split. Oh, still going, Ed. Still happening. But the
well, right there's his problem. I mean, listen to what Brad talked about, where he had these zombie hives and he had all this brood that was being produced by them hives as he's making these cell builders and making these splits and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the big key was that he did not have to rob anything from his production hives. So in Sam's situation, he needs to have brood factories, and I'm talking 10 framers or something like that, or 5/5, or
he's got a few 8-framers and stuff like that. But like this,
they should be constantly just going, and then he should be making nukes on the rest of it and letting them. I don't know, like my nukes. Mine, I get them to the point, and come springtime, they're 5/5. Well, there's brood top to bottom, and I take the top off with a queen. I got another hive down there. All I need to do is add a queen, or let them make one. Hey, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, that's
his what do you call it? Management.
Well, so here's what happens. So you cut out all the queen cells right off of a frame, and you make the splits with those queen cells. If one doesn't come back, now how do you redo that? You got to go back to a colony and grab another frame of eggs to put back in there so they can generate more queen cells.
And of course, he's old, but he doesn't graft, right?
Right. So next year, I'm going to try to graft for him, like graft here, then go over there and graft there and get queens.
That's his key.
And
is that he needs to pull the resources out and put a queen cell in.
And if you're and then the delay, right? So you know it's going to be a month. So that colony's just shrinking and shrinking. And don't trust me, Sam knows what he's doing. But the thing is, because he doesn't graft and you're doing walk away splits, I'm not saying you can't do walk away splits. I'm saying
it's not
the business model.
It's not efficient. It's not an efficient way of doing things.
So he went
All
from
right, it's like the hive behind me. I found
50
I found that queen in there. It's a virgin, you know. And I was putting larvae and eggs in there for them to try to do something because I had put queens in there and all. And I'm like, you know what? You're either gonna make your own queen or you're gonna die. And I'll replace you with another nuke sitting behind you there with a queen that's queen right to begin with. And they made a queen. I'm like, okay, you know. In that situation is when you do a walkaway type of thing. You know, if you can't get.
Remember, Brian says the same thing. I could just graft him and bring him queen cells. I could do that as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's the thing, but I do the same thing sometimes. I get in a pattern, right, where I do the same things over and over again. And until you change that up, you're going to keep getting the same results you've always gotten, right? So, to give you an example, 2 years ago, Sam was selling nukes for $185, and you had to bring your own box. Last year, everybody was selling them for $200, and last year he said, well, I'm not going to sell that many nukes this year. And I said, okay, well, then sell them what everybody else is selling them for, $200. And so he did. And then this year he's like, no, I'm not selling them for $200. I didn't sell that many nukes. I'm going to go back to $185. And I said, but you told me you didn't want to sell that many last year. You didn't, prep for that many. So it's like, one or the other. It doesn't really,
Well,
it's his stuff.
He's, how old is he? 75, 80?
Yeah, he's 70 something. But I mean, yeah, so it's just however he wants to do it. I mean, it's not me to tell him, but if I've just watched his bees go down, down, down. Same thing happened with Amir. Amir sold himself out of nukes, but sold himself down to where he really couldn't make any more nukes if he wanted to grow his colonies back up to be able to sell nukes again next year. So if you're going to do that process, at least make it profitable for yourself. Don't whore out your nukes to where it jeopardizes your apiary. I mean, make your money on the nukes and do what you got to do. And, if you're selling them too easy, there's a reason why,
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I sold, I think 11 this year. And
14 or something, but I did mine differently.
What I'm getting at is that, it's once you sell that half of that box off, it takes you the rest of the summer to rebuild. Unless you're, to keep them up strong.
And, Sam's just said, well, I'm getting kind of old to be out here every day. And he enjoys it. He gets out there and does this thing. And
keeps him going. It keeps him going. If he sits, he's going to die.
Gives him something to do. So I try to help him. I get the feed. Matter of fact, now he's like, well, if you need some feed, just come get it. So we're, and Sam will give you the shirt off his back. And if he needs something, come and get it. We're just like that. We're not that far apart. A matter of fact, I gave him that little colony. He grew it back up, and it's still got the same queen in it. But I mean, I think it only ever got to a 5-frame nuke. It's not like stellar queen or what I'm saying. It's just not prolific. But so that's why I feel like in the spring, if I double my boxes up and I can make brood and do what I got to do. But I've just watched 2 different ways of doing things, and not that mine's perfect or right or anything else, but when I started going down, I asked for help, right? I started asking people, hey, what would you do? What are you doing to make this happen? And was able to kind of turn things around a little bit.
Well, you know, you have a
gamble.
You're trying to strive for a good business model on how to do honey sales, nuke sales, maybe queen sales. Same thing I'm doing.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, but not put all my eggs in one basket, right?
Right. But
so, what
I sit here and I watch a lot of these homesteaders, I guess it is, you know, and they're all city people trying to become farmers, you know, and they don't know, and it's all new to them. And they got I don't know, some of them are doing market gardenings and some of them are doing animals, and they all seem like they all got to have a goat. Now I look at that goat and I'm like, what do you do with a goat? The only ones, well, the only people that I know that do anything with goats
milk, goat cheese.
Yeah. Or you got the Mid-Eastern people come out and they want a certain time of they want their goats to do their holiday specials for meat and whatever. And, but it's not, to me, it's not a feasible plan. And I think that's kind of way like you see that in the same thing in beekeepers at the different levels. I'm trying to get my bees to pay for all my expenses and try to make a little bit of money on the side too. That way I can go to, you know, the Kentucky Fried Convention, you know, and that kind of stuff. And other folks they only want 3 or 4 hives in their backyard, tops.
So, Brad, I lost 26 today. I say today because that's when I found them. They all had bees covering them and everything, but they did not make it. And, you know, it could have been several things. It's not, I've never had an issue with Jose's queens. They've always been great. He stands by them. He offered to send me more queens out. And, you know, I told him just hold it till next year and I'll get them next year. And so that's what we're going to do. But yeah, make your splits ahead of time. That way you can put them right in. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's always I always get real frantic about that when I get 10 queens or something sitting there on my desk.
Well, it was kind of an impulse buy because I had pretty much made up my mind that I wasn't going to do any splits. And then he had the sale, right? And I got a text. I'm like, okay, well, let me go ahead and do it. And change my mind. He does ship on Monday. I got mine shipped on Wednesday. So they shipped Wednesday. I got them Thursday. They stayed in the bank from Thursday to Friday, Friday to Saturday, and then today. Charlie muted himself. But yeah, so could have been a lot of stuff, but that's what happened to me today. And you know, Jose honors his bees, so I don't have any issues. I don't blame Jose. It's probably I figure it was either shipping or me. Jose does thousands of queens, so I don't do thousands. So it's probably on something I did or in shipping. Trap outs are a pain in the butt. That's what I know about trap outs. You got to make sure you've got all of their exits blocked except for the one you want them to go out, and then you put the cone on that. Yeah, run from them. And then it takes upwards to weeks, because the forager bees got to go out, and then all the brood has to hatch, and as they hatch, they got to keep going out. And eventually the queen's like, hey, where'd everybody go? And then she comes out. So it's kind of a thing. Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah, that's it. But it's just a long process to get them out. If you can't get that queen out, all right, maybe third time's the charm here. Is third time the charm?
Let's hope so.
I don't hear me, so that's a good thing.
Yep.
I changed laptops. I edited on one of them. It's a more expensive one. For some reason, it's acting up.
So what your headphones are they plugged into your computer or something or what?
No, they're Bluetooth.
Probably there's your issue. Because you're not just hearing it in your headphones. The speakers are not turned off for some reason.
But anyway, you got it fixed now. So what's up?
Yeah. Well, I've had a pretty interesting day today. Was checking my bees. The two nucleuses that I had queen cells in. I didn't see a queen back. Don't see any eggs. They may have been out on flights. But what I did is I went and pulled and added some more fresh larvae and eggs to each one of them, just on the off chance that something just killed them or they never made it back. And then I was looking in one of what I call my holly hive. She has 6 total slabs of brood in that hive. 6, and I got like 2 parcels. I'm not even counting those. And she's a double deep.
Lee sent me a picture of his new toys.
All the cameras he's got.
5 Canon cameras now. So we can see Lee from every angle once a week. Once a week, we can see Lee from 5 different cameras.
Well, that way we see him coming and going, right?
Coming and going. That's it.
Yeah, I was watching a video of this girl. She was flying an airplane, and the video was side view and the back view, looking forward and then looking at her and all. And as the video was going, you could count. She had like 3 to 4 cameras inside that airplane. They were all GoPros.
I doubt Bruce is watching, but congratulations. He just made a post. I guess he's got a new grandbaby.
All right.
Mine's coming in a week or so. So have you used your new vaporizer yet?
I have tested it on 2 hives. I can't even see where that camera is there. I've tested it on 2 hives. Now, what gets me on this is that this cup right here only holds 2 grams, period. And it's got it's that deep is the to my first knuckle there or second knuckle.
Right.
Is the chamber is that deep.
Well, that's all the ProVap holds in it, but I stack it up like on top like an ice cream cone. And then I flip it upside down and turn it and blast it all in there.
Well, I thought that those cups held like 4 grams for when you fill them up. Those Teflon cups.
I don't know. I mean, I look at it this way. I have a little scoop. I just keep heaping it. Put so many scoops in where, like he says, like it's a nice little heap, and
that's the DC said till it's sliding off the sides. And hey,
now as far as my ProVap, I got the plunger mechanism. I bought that a year ago.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm gonna look at the Robbie's to see if I can find one that fits this one. Like just goes in the top, and I use the plunger on it. That way, I have my dosage pre-measured.
Well, what size bowl is this thing? Is it the
looks
same one as
looks like a ProVap or
looks like a ProVap bowl to me. Hold the bowl up.
The bowl itself,
It's right there.
yeah,
probably the same dimensions.
Find out what the dimensions is on a ProVap.
And then it probably is about the same. Yeah, I lost a couple.
and the readout on it, the readout's not in Fahrenheit, it's in Celsius.
Well, most of them all are. ProVaps in Celsius.
It's got like an emergency switch. If it reaches 235 degrees Celsius, you hit that button and it disengages the heater coil so that it doesn't burn out.
Well, does it do it automatically, or does it go up to a
No.
certain...
Yeah, it'll keep climbing. The temperature will keep climbing, but they were saying in the directions to hit that when it hits, if it goes 235 or above, to disengage it, so that way the coil doesn't burn out. Yeah, it's that's the only thing I really don't like is the size of the cup. That delivery method with the cup is not. I got to fill up two of them.
Bring the cup up here. Let's look at it.
Yeah. All right. The cup, that's the cup, but the I'm trying to find a way to get that. There it goes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's only 2 grams deep.
So you're telling me that if you fill it level with the cup, it's 2 grams.
Correct.
All right. Well, nobody does that. You just heap it up. I mean, seriously. I mean, my cup, the original cup that came with my ProVap, is not that. How can you measure that? You got a ruler handy?
Give me a second. Let me take a look here. I had him take measure and try to figure it out.
Huh?
Yeah,
I just loaded mine extra as well.
You load it up, you heap it up, and then you put it on there and you go on with it. But now I've since bought ProVap's injector thing pin.
I did get my you see this thing here?
Yeah, it's a microwave, or what is it?
Humidor. That's the humidor. Actually, it's a little refrigerator. It's the funny part. It actually cools. So if it doesn't work for what I need it for, it's going to be a drink holder. So you'll see me just reach back and grab another cold drink out of there.
Let me go. I'm going to go back here and get my ProVap.
All right.
I have to get up and get it. I can't just reach over like Lee does.
I don't have my ProVap in here either. So the so 6 grams. You got the Larabi's Hope? Hey, Danae.
I can't find that thing. You must be at work.
The what's that? Oh, your rulers at work?
Yeah, my tape measures at work.
I always got this little tiny one. I'll just pull it out, kind of measure.
I might have been in trouble if I tried to make some bottom boards this weekend.
You can use the fridge to make creamed honey. This little fridge cost me $160. I could have bought a real fridge. It's supposed to be a a humidor. So I don't know if it's gonna dehumidify what I need, but it might. I got it full of Vapus right now as a test. See what happens.
Yeah, the honey that I had pulled got was at 20% moisture content. So I'm trying to dehumidify that too. And
Yeah.
it's taking its time, doing it slow.
But yeah, man, today's been one of those days just out there working today, this afternoon anyway. Yeah, it does. It comes with this little tray, right, for a shelf. And it comes with a inside of it, it's got a tray that's got a humidity sensor or humidity monitor on it. So I don't know if it'll actually change the humidity. I don't know what the lowest was. It'll go to 54 degrees. That's as low as it'll go.
Yeah. DC's talking about medical implements.
74. That's funny. It's supposed to be a humidor. We'll see. It's called a King Chii. King CHII. King Chi. I don't know. Chinese deal there.
And it's a knockoff.
It's probably a knockoff. Yep. Let's see.
But sometimes some knockoffs last longer than the original sometimes.
Man, where do you have to go? To the barn to get his? He went to go get his ProVap with the cups. Oh,
He's right behind that red truck in his picture right there. You see him?
Right. He's walking out there right now.
Yeah, one of my hives today was not nice at all.
It's probably recording me right now. Yeah.
The hive was real nasty today. They had sufficient supplies and everything, and they've been bringing in nectar.
Right.
Because I might be able to spin out another 60 pounds out of another 2 different hives now. So let's wait for them to cap it.
I put out feed, and then I started putting feed on colonies today. So we'll see if I can get them to store something, or at least feed them. And we're playing Find Charlie.
Find Charlie. I said, where's Waldo? Where's Charlie?
That'd be neat if it was a live action camera as the background. So 87% humidity. Todd, I ended up getting 200 pounds of sugar. So I put 10 pounds into a 5-gallon bucket. That's what they got. So it's like 1/4 to 1. It's real thin, or 1/3 to 1.
Oh, there he is. Charlie is popped
up. I couldn't find the one I wanted. These are the regular ones. You know, this is the newest model thing out where I got this. You dip it down in your oxalic acid, you put it in a hole and push the plunger. 4 grams, 6 grams, whatever you got it set up for. Can't find the original caps. I don't know what I did with them.
No, they didn't have any broken ones, Todd. Well, they did, but they were on the shelf broken. And at my Walmart, trying to get anybody to help you is like ridiculous. So,
sugar.
That's 90% of the stores nowadays. Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere. You can't hardly get anybody to help you.
Hey, when Keith came down from Larimore to do the porch, we were in Lowe's, and I hit the button, because they had all the wire locked up in a cabinet, and it says something like a customer needs help in electrical, right? And it just keeps cycling that every so often until they come and turn it off. We sat there for probably almost 10 minutes and nobody came. I walked to the end of the aisle where the tools are all there, and there was 3 people just standing there talking, shooting the breeze. I'm like, y'all don't hear that? Y'all don't hear that thing going off that's been going off for 10 minutes right there? And they finally came and opened it up and let us get it. I'm like, come on, man, we're trying to spend our money here, and you guys are just jaw jacking, riding the clock. So, but but you do like that vaporizer so far?
Yeah, it worked really good for the two hives that I used it on. I'm going to do a video of it and put it out.
I did find a little deformed wing virus in one of my colonies today, so that was not too exciting. So we'll be firing them up this weekend too, probably. So got a bunch of stuff to do. It's like I just can't get caught up. If I could just get caught up, I'd feel better. But it's like always got something, something to do.
In the bee yard or what?
All together, it doesn't matter. Like before I could work the bees, I had to mow the grass, right? So it's like you got 2 days to do everything. And ran out of syrup. Now I got to go get sugar from Walmart, until I can get back to Charlotte. So to give you an idea, I got 200 pounds of sugar, cost me like $136, $137. So now that $136 would have got me 13 buckets of 2-to-1. So it would have been like 26 buckets of 1-to-1. Right. So it's just like a big waste of money at this point on bagged sugar, but you need it. I guess it's not a waste if you use it, but yeah, old school, do your job or get fired. Novel idea nowadays. That's true. we owe them a paycheck.
Dude, I'm waiting for them to give me a paycheck for all the places that make you check your own self out.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, I was going to ask Todd about that hurricane thing out there, whether he was going to get the hit of it, but it doesn't sound like it.
Rain. He's supposed to get a couple inches of rain is what he said. The buckwheat in the front got mowed down. The buckwheat in the back has been getting beat down with the heat. So it's growing, but it's not like anything to speak of. Now I will say that the last 2 buckets of honey that I've pulled off have been dark, and they don't taste like my other honey. Doesn't quite taste like straight buckwheat, but it is definitely a dark honey. And now it tastes like buckwheat and hot peppers is what it tastes like. That's why it got turned into ghost peppers. So I think I'm
ghosted buckwheat.
I think I've called it, came up with a name for it, Sweet Death. It's just Sweet Death. So we'll see. But yeah, I just figured we'd go live a little while tonight and see what was going on with everybody and see what everybody was up to. But it doesn't look like anybody's too chatty tonight. Charlie's not chatty.
I don't know. I baled hay all afternoon, round baled. So I don't have to do anything tomorrow. I'm luckily off. So that kind of finishes up, hopefully, for right now. Maybe for the year. I need to get out in my bees there. There's some queens that I need to check on. And I would say it's been about 2 weeks. So check on that one hive over there, that small purple hive, and see whether or not that virgin has come back, mated, and see if I can see some fresh eggs.
Right.
And I had added some supers to some other nukes on the line. Also, I had another nuke on the line that I think I added some brood and stuff to it, and it came back with a virgin. So see whether that has, up and running. So and that kind of stuff. So I don't know what I'll get all that done tomorrow morning type of thing. And it's supposed to get hot. Today was nice. It was like 70 degrees this afternoon, and it was actually breezy enough to where it was sort of chilly in the shade,
Right.
But it was nice. I mean, it was kind of like a fallish day, and now it's supposed to get hot again.
Shoot, Tuesday and Wednesday is supposed to be 100 degrees here.
Same here.
That's why I don't live down there.
Low of 72. So it gets to a low of room temperature.
Well, I know that what's the fella up in Vermont? Where is he at? He said it was going to be
Michael.
57. Yeah, he was going to be 57 degrees at night.
We've got about another 2 months before we get that.
Shoot, it's 81 degrees right now.
It's 76 right now. And so.
But yeah, we just chilling out, man. Not much happening. I got to tomorrow I'm gonna go through the rest of my colonies, put some feeders out in there, and I've got some feeders on my smaller colonies and the ones that had the license colonies with those feeders. I got some feed in there a little bit for them. And
yeah, it's like this here last video. I don't know if I posted it or not, but anyway, I went out there last week and checked 4 or 5 hives, and they're bringing in, I think, spotted lanternfly honey. So the hives are being filled. They're not starving. I'm not saying I'm still going to feed them, but
you saw my feeder video, right?
yeah, I think saw the short of it.
Yeah,
Galloway just popped up.
There must have been 5 or 9 videos on my phone while I was working, and like I could feel like the buzzing and all.
I tried to tag. I see Frank in the chat here. I tried to tag Frank with it because he helped me fill it up, but they left before it got going good, and so I tried to share it so he could take a look at it. But it was pretty busy at that feeder.
But so anyway, that's what I'm doing, or what I'm going to do. And I haven't been in the bees for a week, kind of looking around, and it's just more of a spot check thing. This hive only has 1 box, so if there's a population situation there, let's add a box. Last week I had some of the nukes or the queens that I had mated. They were growing in 1 box, and one of them was pretty populated, and I had some boxes of comb out here, and I'm looking at them. They haven't gotten hit by the wax moth, but there's this great, I think out of every box there was at least 1 or 2 wax moths, in there looking around. So I said, well, maybe it's best to let's go ahead and just put them on the hives and let the bees take care of them.
So I think I was talking to Brad earlier, and I'm thinking I'm going to take that small tote that I was using for feeder. I've got a bag of diatomaceous earth. I think I'm going to pour that bag in there, and as I come, and just bring it with me as I'm working the hives. And if I find a bunch of hive beetles, I'm going to shake the frame down the bees off, and then I'm going to shake the beetles off, bang them off into that diatomaceous earth tub, and see if that can wipe some of them out, and see what happens. I might have a whole tub full of beetles by the time it's done.
Well, have you started doing your peppermint candy thing?
I put some peppermints in. The ones that I opened, right? So it was my intention this afternoon to make a bunch of splits, but I didn't have queens to make splits with at that point. So I was like pretty disheartened with the queen situation. And then
Well, have you got all the ones that are still alive in their own boxes?
Yeah, they all got their own. And
all right, so you got that. You're over that hump.
Yep. So now what happens, and just I'm not going to sweat it. I mean, at this point, with as many as I've lost, what's one or two more? If it's like, well, shit. Just wasps. They're having wasp problems. So, but yeah, it's just been a crazy day, crazy weekend, and there's Todd popping in. Todd,
what's up?
Not much. What you doing?
Right here. Yeah.
Todd's mic. Your mic's quiet.
All right.
There you go.
So what's the deal with the hurricane, Todd, for you?
Well, the tropical storm part start now. It started about an hour ago. Real heavy wind and thunder and lightning. It just rained a whole bunch a minute ago, and now it feels like Hawaii outside.
Oh yeah, you probably. I bet you could hear the ground going.
yeah. But I top feed with buckets or jars, so I have holes in the center of my lids, and then I use those paint plugs that Greg Burns sells, and I plug up the holes. Well, right now they're open because it was 97 degrees today, and I leave that open for ventilation and upper entrance. And now the weatherman was wrong once again. It wasn't supposed to start raining until tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's when I talked to you. You said tomorrow, like 2 inches.
Yeah. So it's not right. It's gonna be off and on, I guess, for the next 24 hours.
Those outer bands, right? That's they call them.
Yeah. So I've been contemplating on whether to go back over to the farm right now and put all the plugs back in. But I looked at the radar, and for right now, it doesn't look like it's going to do much of anything. So I'm just going to let it ride.
Well, worst case, it just drips in, right? So maybe they'll get them a drink of water in there.
Yeah.
Well, they can also bridge it over. They can actually make a seal with their wings and stuff.
And I have bricks, so I cover.
Will it rehydrate these?
Hey, you know what I was thinking, Bob? You should make queen lure out of that. Oh wait, never mind.
Make swarm lure out of it.
So anyway, I have bricks that are laying over at least half of the holes. I mean, half of each hole.
Right.
Water's still going to get in. But luckily this spring I took a 5/8 inch drill bit, and I drilled holes in the bottom of the pallet in the back corners of each spot.
Right.
Just for this purpose, because last year they were swimming. After all the rain, they were swimming. So I needed
little leach holes for it to weep out of there.
Yeah. But it's definitely warm over here today.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't as bad during the day as it was, last week, but for some reason it just turned into one of those days to where it's kind of melodramatic when you go out to your queen bank and 26 of your queens are dead.
Yeah,
But DC. I'm reading DC, but Jose is a stand-up guy, man. He's like, hey, it's probably not something we did, but and I agree, it's probably not. I've never had problems with Jose's queens before, but it could have been something in shipping, or it could have, you don't know. But I did make 28 splits, so I've got that to worry about, and now I got 26 queens in the spring that are prepaid for.
Yeah.
So, could have been worse.
You could have got all of them and they were dead, or they died before you put them in hives.
And he actually said, "Well, I can send them out this week," and I was like, "Don't worry about it, because I don't know that I'll get all those splits made in time. And
yeah,
at this point, I'm just going to put feed on them and let them rock and roll. I mean, they were killing that tub today. And
I saw that on that video.
It was full of apis, so I know they're getting nutrition going back, to their colonies. And it's just, what can you do? It's suck it up. It's part of farming.
Yep.
And it was a gamble to begin with, and it didn't pay off right now. So.
Well, but the good thing is Jose's a stand-up guy, like you said. He'll back it. He'll back what he produces. So I'm glad he did that. I when I heard about that, I had no doubt that he was going to do that. So
I didn't even ask him about it. I was just calling him to let him know that, hey, I don't know what happened, but Queens just had a hard time.
Yeah,
and
that's a shame. It really is. He puts lots of work in each one of those things. So.
Oh yeah, DC said, I think this is better, to be honest. You still can run your experiment and still have a backup plan for the spring. So
yeah,
it's true. Tis true. And what time's the UFC fight on?
Well, the preliminaries are on right now, but the main event probably won't be for another couple hours, unless the other ones go fast.
Has McGregor fighting tonight? I know he's talking about a comeback or something.
No, he's way off from fighting. The only one is Sugar Shane. I think it's Sugar Shane O'Malley, and he's all tatted up, and then he dyes his hair pink or whatever color he wants.
Right.
That's the main event. So.
And where's everybody go? How you come on a live stream and leave for half of the live stream, guys? What the hell?
Oh, jeez.
Ed's there. Charlie disappeared.
Charlie's looking for his vaporizer again.
Did he go back out to look for the vaporizer, or he just disappeared? He's probably going to get popcorn now. It's popcorn 30.
It is, huh?
I still see these actors striking. I'm like, really? Nothing like a bunch of millionaires going on strike to piss you off for the day, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here saying I just lost $500 in Queens, and they're worried about their next $1,000,000. I don't know where my next
strike going to a movie.
Right, that's it. Charlie, would you get popcorn?
Yep.
That's what I said. I said, I bet you would go make his popcorn.
Paul said he went to buy a hive lifter.
Oh my gosh. That I found another pissy hive out there today. And I had that last queen that I didn't have anywhere to put it. And I opened that colony up and they were pissed off. And I'm like, I wonder if they're queenless down there. I literally didn't even go down in there. I just put the queen on top. All the bees came up to it. And then I spread the 2 frames apart and put it in there. And I'm like, go get her, girl. If she's in there, go take her out, 50-50 chance right now. That's funny. You see that, Philip? I think McGregor's going to fight George Foreman, all of them in a future cage match. Because he named all of his kids George, didn't he? All his boys are George.
Yeah. George 1, George 2, George 3.
Yeah. I don't go to movies. Yeah, I haven't been to a movie in a long time.
Well, the hole in my back healed.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So I don't have to have the neighbor come over and put one of those waterproof Band-Aids on me, because I literally cannot. I can't reach it. So,
I said, I was talking last night to the guys, and I was like, I finally realized how old I was the other night in the VIP room. And I said, because we were all sitting around talking about our ailments and sicknesses and our medications. I'm like, I'll see your blue pill, and I got 2 red pills over here. Lee says he hasn't been to the movies since 2012.
Yeah.
And Brad says he'll come on in a few minutes. So if we're still alive.
Well, going to a bit, let's see. Last time I was in a movie theater, it was like $12 or $15. And I know it's more than that now.
And I know you would go broke buying popcorn.
Yeah. Concession stand would be empty.
But they used to have those things where you'd buy the big tub and it was really expensive, but then you could get a free refill on it, right? So I'd go in there and all the kids would grab a bunch of popcorn, and then I'd go back and get it filled up again and then carry some home with me, Charlie. And be able to.
I mean, the thing of it is, it's expensive to go there.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I have a Fire Stick.
Yep.
Side loaded that sucker, and I watch anything I want to watch.
I want to get what Todd's got. I checked the bank. My paycheck hadn't hit yet, but when it hits, I'm ordering one.
Let me know. The guy here will ship it to you for 10 extra bucks. So.
And so that thing is amazing. But I was after we got off that night, we were watching YouTube videos on it, and it looks like you have to program it.
Are you still watching this with me or no?
He does all that.
Okay.
Yeah, and, he programs everything, and all you do is plug it in, put the HDMI cable in, and that's it. Well, then you have to put your Wi-Fi password in there. So
if it works as good as what you say, then I'm going to call the cable company and turn the boxes in.
Well, before you do that, just give it a test drive and see, if you like it.
So I'll let y'all know what it is in the future when I get it, and then we'll brag on it. And I bet you we'll sell 50 of them. 50 of. I mean, it'll save you money in the long run for sure.
It will. And you know what? I probably have sold 50 of them for this guy, right? I don't ask him for a penny, because all my friends have it, and the only thing I wanted them to do is save some money every month on their cable bill. That's it. But it's a deal. It's a good deal.
So you pay a little bit up front, and then nothing. I mean, and we got talking about this because my cable bill, what I say it was $174 a month for TV, just the TV portion of the cable bill.
I haven't had a cable bill in 10 years.
Well, so
it's nice.
So this thing's what, $300?
$250.
$250, and you get 1,700 channels.
Mm-hmm.
Except you don't get your local stations, but you get the national news.
And you cannot tape things. That's the only bad thing about those two things. Like if you want to watch the local news or tape something, you can't do it. But
you get video on demand.
Yeah.
So you can watch movies anytime.
Yep.
And you get all of the channels.
Yeah. Now, what's nice is you guys are on the East Coast, so if you miss something at 8:00, you
go to the West Coast to watch it later.
Go to the West Coast feed and watch it. Yeah.
Todd, do you have a VPN?
No.
That was the Honeybee Compound.
Yeah.
And it's got Canada stations.
Yeah, and Brad, if Brad's listening, you can watch, as long as you have internet, you can watch everything that I watch or whoever else that has it watches. You get all those channels. But yeah, there's a Canada subset of channels. There's Oh, the Philippines. There's Mexico. Like what I was saying the other day. I could turn this thing on right now to. I could watch a cricket match in Pakistan right now if I wanted to. If it's on Sky Sports, it's a UK sports channel. So it's pretty cool.
Think how much more money you have for bee stuff if you weren't paying a cable bill every month.
Yeah.
So let's see. Brad says, I did say Brad said you come on, and they want the bees. Let me see. 100. Hey Keith, I'm trying to catch up with.
She's talking about a cutout.
Is that a cutout or the trap out that she was talking about?
In an attic of an old house, it's 120, 140 degrees in there.
Not catching my fat butt up there.
That's why I end up at least twice a week in one of those.
Whew.
No, not happening. But but yeah, I mean, I just really don't have anything going on around here as far as bees, really. I mean, it's just hot. There's no nectar.
Yeah.
Yesterday, or when was it? 2 days ago, I said I saw pollen coming in, and I haven't seen it since then. So which is, they've got plenty of pollen. So I don't know. Don't know.
So what are you doing in your bees, Todd? Anything?
Well, I pulled it's going to end up being about 150 pounds of yellow thistle yesterday. I took the day off. And I was extracting part of it today, or all of it, actually. I finished up. I ran out there before it started raining, put an empty box, or not empty box, put a box on top of one of Mark's queens that's blowing up, so they need room. So I gave them all those frames that I extracted. And that's about it. Yesterday, I kind of peeked in here and there. They still have tons of bees for this time of year. It's crazy.
Yeah, mine are just packed.
It's amazing. I'm gonna say it again. I swear it's the Apis. That's the only thing I've done different.
Where's the? I see James, but I don't see James. I see him trying to come in, but I don't see any video feed or anything yet.
Yeah, I mean I got slabs of brood on frames, and I don't know. Does it make them feel good, or they're just healthier that way, or just what it is?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know. I mixed it up today. I showed Frank how to mix it, how I mix it. It might not be the way y'all mix it. It's the way I mix it, and it works well. There's Brad. I don't know what happened to James. Bradley.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Brad.
Hey, Brad.
Did you go back to work after I talked to you, or did you just call it?
Oh, yeah. No, I went back to work and finished my job.
He's like, I just don't feel like getting back up right now.
Man, you're working and then you sit down and talk for a while. Boy, you don't feel like getting back up again. But, yeah, I'm just transferring nukes. I'm transferring some 5-frame Pro nukes and some 4-frame boxes into some 6-frame boxes. So hopefully they'll use the extra space for winter.
I got you some queens I'll sell you cheap. We probably won't even have to worry about the Canadian government worrying about these.
And shipping won't be a problem.
Nope. We can send them just dehydrated queens. Just add water.
You can meet somebody at the fence. Fence and pass them over.
I'll just hook them all to a drone and fly them over the border and drop them like.
Yeah, that'll work.
Just make it a big weather balloon, Bob.
Yeah, Canada's not going to shoot.
It won't be noticed.
Oh, just put Chinese
No
characters on it. Nobody will shoot it down.
That's not James. He doesn't have an ice cream cone.
Why is Brad eating popcorn?
Yeah.
Popcorn.
My goodness.
Oh yeah,
You saw,
love it.
Uh-oh.
and there he went. Yeah.
Big
So
popcorn fan.
that's the tragedy. Well, I already talked to you about it anyway, but yeah.
That's sad. That's very sad. Every queen is precious.
Okay, I take it all back. Yeah, the internet in Saskatchewan and Manitoba is no better than it is here in.
Are you on your way there now? Are you?
Am I what?
Are you on your way to like Manitoba now?
No, I'm on my way to back to the apiary. We're putting on feeder buckets.
30 calories. You're counting calories for your queens?
He's got ice cream for him.
Yeah, nope.
Granulated 30 calories per serving.
I've got some queens for you, James.
Yeah, 26 of them, I understand.
26 dehydrated queens.
Oh,
I guess they're dehydrated. I mean, they're dead. So I guess they do dry up after they stop breathing. So
Most things do.
yeah, But Jose was willing to send me replacement queens.
he's pretty cool. Like he's good for it all, right? But I mean, were they alive when you got them?
They were alive when I got them.
Yeah, so it's not Jose's issue, right?
No, and that's what I told him. I said, "Oh, I'm not calling to blame you or anything. I was just letting you know, what happened." But they were covered and they were being taken care of, and then they just weren't. So I don't know, but is what it is. I mean, he said he's going to credit my account, and in the spring he'll send me queens when I make my splits in the spring.
Oh, well, there you go.
So he actually said he would send them out this week, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to make any more splits. This may not go good if you're in the same vehicle, just because you might get that feedback. See?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're trying to go in too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need a swarm lure concoction. I've got a swarm lure concoction. The popcorn, man. Y'all can make me go up and make a bag. 6 people all not talking at once.
I was going to say, I have no popcorn.
You got sugar slurp.
I was going to say, I can make one hell of a sweet drink, but I have no popcorn.
So how many have you fed already today?
What did we do? I don't know. After this load, it'll be 80? No, almost 89.
I actually went and bought 200 pounds of sugar today. So, because I used my last bucket of feed, so I figured I would make sure I had some until next time I can get over there to Charlotte.
There you go.
Oh, we might get a full house tonight. Now we need 2 more for the full-on Brady bunch.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
There's Philip.
Hey, James.
Good evening.
Now we got 7 people not talking at once.
Thought I would add to that.
We're all real polite. We don't want to step on top of anybody else. So.
That's right.
Hey, so you know what? I think last night's live stream went really well over on Charlie's channel.
It did.
Oh.
It was great.
I think it went absolutely awesome. So, that that was a good introduction to those 4-H members as to coming out here and seeing, being able to ask questions and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that was great.
And then the community supported them and made donations.
Hey, Bob, read David Hughes's comment there. You can send them up there to AJ.
I could send them to AJ, and he could use them all and have queen bee necklaces.
Keychain.
If he could hydrate them out enough to spread them out.
There you go.
Of course, they'd probably get flagged at customs, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Again,
He's got some up here that in the.
James is breaking up.
Again, you can meet someone at the fence and pass it over, hand it over. It's like
they would open them up to see what you were sending up here.
Throw them right in the trunk of his Malibu.
You're thinking of the other way, Todd. We don't have a fence. We have a ditch.
A ditch.
Is that a moat?
A moat.
Put them on a remote control boat and then put them across the St. Lawrence Seaway there.
I paddled right into Canada through Minnesota.
Mike Berry does that for fun.
Yeah, I did the same path that Mike Berry took when he talked about that station. It's a shed basically. You go in there. Yeah. You go in there and they ask you if you have, any plants, drugs, firearms, or dead queen bees. And then then they let you go on through.
They don't ask if you have fruit?
No, it's pretty friendly. I made the back when I went in. It was in the middle of the election with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and I walked in and said, "I'm here to apply for political asylum." He got a kick out of that.
Our society's political
insane. Absolutely nuts. I mean, who would come up here to our prime minister? He knew you were bluffing because nobody in their right mind would do that.
I'm still waiting on Rosie O'Donnell to move. She said she was going to move when Trump got elected, and she's still here.
James. That just shows how poor judgment I have because I had no idea that your prime minister was like that back then.
Oh,
I thought Canada was the land of leave each other alone back then. It's all changed.
Yeah,
it was.
That guy is such a.
But we once again elected a communist.
Yeah, we're all.
And I use that term "we" loosely because I had no hand in it. For the record.
Yeah. We're both in the same boat on that end of it.
Now, Brad Ian was talking about they passed in your province or whatever they call it, that you're going to use Sertan. Well, I thought that stuff was made in your country. And it's like,
I don't know where it's made.
I mean,
I don't know much about it.
It just spray your combs and the wax moths don't get a hold of them. Or at least it helps.
Yeah, it hasn't been approved for use on combs.
And
Canada, but Manitoba actually has a conditional approval for it.
Wow.
Huh.
I thought it was originally,
but it's expensive. It's I had my bee supply guy kind of price it out, and he said it would cost me 40 cents a comb.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like that's expensive water.
So, guys got to figure that out. Like, is it? I mean, it's worth it to. The comb is worth more than that, but still.
Yeah. Does it? How well does it work?
Well, I know some people used it, and it wasn't all that great.
It works against larvae. It doesn't work against, like, it won't kill adult moth. It works. It's a larvicide.
Mm. I've had pretty good luck with the paramoth, and you can get it pretty cheap if you shop around. You can't buy it from a bee supply store and get it very cheap.
I don't
We
think
get mine.
that's approved here.
Yeah, well, I don't even have enough comb to even store comb like that right now.
I don't know if it's approved here either, but I'm not going to go checking for that. It works.
I just today finished my big long wax rendering, frame rendering project I've been working on for months. I rendered 400 frames or so.
Wow.
What a pain in the butt. But they're going to be fresh when they go back on.
The
Yeah, Brian C said he had issues with Sertan. Oh, had no issues. No, he says no issues. He said no issues with it. Well, at first he said he had issues, and then he said he had no issues.
Well, it used to be approved for the United States, so years ago.
Well,
and then I think somebody didn't keep up with the EPA licensing or something like that, and then they finally brought it back here in the last year or two.
The first time I heard of it was the Bee Whisperer did a video on it.
Well, I was talking to my friend Lloyd, who'd been at beekeeping for 50 years at least, and he said they had it years ago, and then the EPA license ran out and couldn't do anything, so somebody else picked it back up. But that's a lot of work too, spraying the damn combs. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Well, guys, I'm gonna bail for the night.
Okay. How much water you got on?
Night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
had a guy in Darlington just message me wanting to know how far I am from him because he's wanting nukes, and now it's like I don't have the queens to make the nukes, so I might have to break it to him gently. So I don't know. Let me see.
You see that? Keith said he lost 14 colonies. Wonder what happened there.
Who did?
Keith Larimore.
What happened?
It says a month ago I was scrambling for equipment. Now I got plenty, down to 20 from 34. Got to get a freezer for my comb.
He's probably having the same things I'm having: hive moths and moths and hive beetles.
Where does he live at?
He's about an hour. Well, he's a little bit further, hour and a half, 2 hours east of me.
He's the area he's in is kind of swampy, right? Or I know he did that video.
Yeah, he's closer to the coast, yeah. And he probably has some swamp-like conditions over there. And so, I mean, I lost 5. That's why I decided, well, I'll go ahead and split and get my numbers up. So when I lose some, I'm playing to my numbers. I didn't expect that half the queens that I was using were going to croak on me. So,
yeah, I think I've lost 3 or probably 4. 4 of 40.
I was setting my escapes recently and kind of doing a quick queen check when I pulled all the honey supers off to set the escapes. And darn it, if I didn't find half a dozen or more queenless hives out there. Probably, maybe some swarmed and didn't requeen. But, yeah, so I got a few queenless hives now.
beetle
and the big question then is, here's a conundrum to figure out. The big question is, I've got, most of 100 probably nice fresh 23 grafted queens laying up a storm over on the side. So do I grab those queens out of the little nukes that they're in, which some of them aren't in that little a nuke, they're doing really well, and requeen these production hives?
Is
There's
the
always a risk, right?
is the comb in those production hives clean comb, or is that stuff you got to render?
No, it's clean enough. Yeah, I don't have any worries that way. But you know, I got thinking about that, and I got thinking that, you know, that queen is as safe as she's going to be sitting in that nuke, laying her brains out and making up a nice little cluster for winter. And she should have the same chance of wintering as a full production colony. Honeyful's over, you know, so I've got nothing to salvage there. And there's always a risk when you're requeening. You know, maybe there's a virgin running around in some of these that tried to requeen and didn't, and maybe there's a virgin in there. You never really know, right? It's hard to tell. So I thought, you know, maybe I'll just leave him alone. Call that a loss and move on.
Yeah.
Well,
You know,
when I was talking about that hive behind me there, that little one, you know, I had put a nuke in there with a queen. It was queenless. Put a nuke in with a queen. Went queenless again. And I was like, okay, I got a insurance hive like you got, you know, a queen that's building up right now, got her own hive, got her own bees. And I'm like, just let this one die as far as I was concerned, you know, because it had been trouble all summer long. So now it has requeened. I had put brood in it and it had requeened itself. So I found a virgin in there. So we'll see. But I think you're right, Brad. I would keep that fresh queen with her brand new bees with her, that they're all related, and keep it as a unit.
Yeah, there's no risk there. If I start aging her up and putting her in different hive, there's always a risk. No matter what, there's always a risk. Then there's just always a risk, even if there's no virgin or anything. There's always a risk that they're just not going to like her and they're going to kill her or something.
Nope.
So yeah, I'll just let them time out. Rex asked if I got the honey pulled. I haven't. Well, I pulled it very little bit so far, but I'm going to start pulling some of the honey tomorrow off the first escapes I set. So I'll be pulling honey. Monday might be rain or rainy, so I might not pull the rest of it until Tuesday, Wednesday.
So, hey, Brad, I have a question for you. On those
Yes, sir.
3x6 boxes you have where they combine to fill honey supers, do you leave them sort of in that configuration after the honey flow, or do you split them up, or what do you do with those things?
In the 6-frame boxes?
Yeah. It's a three-way. The three-way pile.
Yeah, they'll be in there until spring.
Okay. Well, and I guess the reason I ask is that I did several, probably 5 different boxes that had 2 5-frame nukes in it side by side, and they combined to fill up some honey supers. But I wish I had separated them right after the honey flow, because I went like a month after the honey flow, and in almost every case, one side killed the queen on the other side. You know, one side was queenless on all of these that I've gone to split now. But but I did leave supers on top for them to clean up, but I think they got, you know, when they got to looking for something to eat, they said, hey, we'll just go over and rob the neighbor, kill their queen. I think that's what happened.
Maybe. I do know that shared resources like that, if a colony goes queenless for any reason, they won't requeen. Like, they won't go into emergency mode because there's too much queen pheromone from the other side. So I know that happens.
I've probably, I've still got a couple more to check, but 3 of the 5, only one. In some cases, the one side the bees were just gone, completely gone, died out. It's
Yeah.
gone, something. Even had
Yeah.
wax moth damage and all that. But on a couple of other ones, there were still bees there. They just didn't have queen. They didn't have a brood. They were hanging out, living out their lives. They didn't go laying worker though, but they didn't have a queen or any evidence that they'd had a queen for a while.
I used to use the method where I would run 2 10-frame boxes side by side, just like I do now. But then I would put small lids on the side and put my 10-frame honey supers in the center and go up, and it would make a tall stack. But I dropped that method.
Yeah, I saw a video of yours on that.
I dropped that method because if they didn't requeen,
Okay.
you'd lose one side, and then that's it.
There was a guy up in one of the other clubs up in Pennsylvania that made a base where you, like you said, it's a 2 queen hive, queen in each side with a queen excluder in the middle, and then that vertical honey super up through there. And all the time you're constantly having a queen issue on one side or the other. You're losing the queens and stuff.
Yeah, they got to be balanced. They got to be very balanced. So I just dropped that. I did it so that I could access. I was running those green Pureco drone frames for Mite control, and that just became too difficult. With if you had 50 or 75 colonies, you can maybe do that, but I got to 120, 150, and I just couldn't keep up to it. So I decided to just, and the requeening problem, I decided to just go back to conventional single stack on each.
I wonder why, and we talked about this yesterday, why they don't have.
I'm not going to say the word, Bob, but I heard Brad say it. The M word.
Ugh.
Yikes.
That was just one of my colonies, but the others were actually, I'd say low. 130 dropped, but that one had like 1,300 on it. And that's been the second big drop of that colony this year. So
I wonder why they don't make a green drone foundation instead of just the frame, where you could just buy the sheet and pop it in, right?
well,
you got to know where it is. That's why I paint a story frame green on the top.
I've had zero luck even having them draw that out.
The story frame?
Not a story frame, the green plastic.
Oh, yeah.
If that's your only, just paint you a frame green and put it in there without any foundation. If it's your only one, they're going to put drone brood in there. Almost.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Mostly anyway.
Yeah.
I know I just need to call up China, tell them I need some just found green foundation that's got big balls on it. I'd probably sell 3.
Todd, I was kind of in and out here earlier on. I heard you were getting some bad weather.
Yeah, well, it's not bad. Just that messy hurricane stuff that's blown up through LA and Southern California. We're getting we're at the 11 o'clock position of the storm path. So, got a band of rain that went through already. It was 96 today. Then when the rain hit, it was 71. Then 15 minutes later, it was 87 and like 60% humidity. I mean, it's all over the place.
So it's been crappy weather. You're not really in danger.
No.
Yeah, the way the news media is here on the East Coast, you're going to get a foot of rain and you're flooding and yada, 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 yada.
But I'll guarantee you this, LA is a circus because or it will be a circus because of the storm. I mean, it's already a circus, but one drop of rain on the freeway and those people panic. It's
Yep.
crazy. So, and when Charlie said, that the weatherman or makes up this big, makes it out to be a big thing. 3 or 4 years ago, there was a hurricane that hit in Florida, and I happened to be watching the Weather Channel, and I'll never forget this. I know the guy's face. He still works there. I just can't remember his name. Well, he's holding the microphone and he's he's bobbing back and forth like the wind is buffing him, or just nailing him. And the cameraman, for some unknown reason, just decided to take a view across the street. I mean, 30 feet away from this guy. And here come these two guys just walking down the sidewalk.
I saw that. Yeah.
There was no wind. It was totally made up. It's just, oh, come on, guys. I mean, some of these people will do anything to push their point of view across, instead of
Zero integrity.
Yeah, why don't you just report on reality? Don't make stuff up,
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with this. As soon as that storm, I think it's supposed to kind of come on land around San Diego. As soon as that happens, there's no more warm water for it. It's just going to break apart. But, yeah. So nothing major.
And you could use the rain.
Yes, 2 inches.
Yeah, send all of that rain here. We need it.
They should come. They should come here sometime and enjoy a nice Colorado low.
I've seen those on Ian's videos. I don't think I want to be up there.
Everybody can use an extra 2 inches.
That's like sitting.
That's what she said.
That's like sit in the house and listen to the wind blow and watch the snowdrifts go up for about 3 days. Hoping the power doesn't go out.
That's it's pretty windy outside right now. I'm surprised the lights haven't flickered yet. I'm just waiting for it. But yeah, all is well.
Good. That's good to know.
Except I didn't get the plugs on my lids today because of the rain. I was going to do that tomorrow because the weatherman said it's not going to start raining until midnight on Sunday or Monday morning, whatever. So.
You're talking about buying them plugs from Craig, yeah. What about Brad? Don't you have those yellow plugs that like Ian has to put thing? Where do you buy them at?
Yeah, they're pretty common here. Well, I just buy a B supply, which are not real cheap there, but it's a company called Cap Plug, and it's a plug that's used for when you buy things like pipes and hydraulic fittings and things like that.
Yeah,
that's the plug that's on the end of that, and we just buy the 2-inch plug for that.
Better Bee has them, Charlie. I bought some at Better Bee just to try them out.
You like what Greg has?
Good. They last a while, and the sun beats them up, and they crack, and then you have to replace them.
Yeah.
There's somebody in Illinois that's got a capping spinner, Maxant capping spinner. Only $1,800.
The big one or a little one?
Let me see.
Is it a junior or a senior?
It's got a plastic gate valve on it, so it's probably a junior.
Yeah, mine's working pretty good. It's definitely a little bit of honey left in the cappings, but it's nice that it just kind of does it as I'm uncapping.
Do you uncap into it?
Yeah, it sits under my cow uncapper.
Okay. Because I saw Mr. Ed's video, I guess yesterday, and his was set up like that, but he doesn't do that. He just scoops his wax cappings and dumps them in there.
His spinner is different. Do you know what kind of spinner that is?
It's
I was
a
watching that.
it's a man lake.
Is it? But it was designed to be uncapped into. But he took the blades out of it, and he
Okay, so there was blades.
yeah, there were blades. He actually showed the blades in this video, but he just said he took them out. There was a big thing
'Cause
on
he has
there.
a-
The frames
He
was
has
red.
a chain uncapper,
Right.
so he'll be just producing a slurry,
Yep. Yep.
whereas a knife uncapper produces,
Yeah.
chunks
Sheets.
and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. He just scoops his off the top. He just lets it run into the barrels, and then he comes back later and scoops it off, and spins it out. That looks like a very nice uncapper. It looks like it's very well built.
It does look like a really nice spinner.
Put it up, Bob.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, scrolled past it. I gotta scroll back.
Where are you looking at?
People who use the
Marketplace?
chain uncappers really like them.
Well, where did it
And
go?
when I was looking for stuff, I started to learn that, but then I realized you need two people to run that thing. You need, a feeder and a catcher, and
Yeah, you'd
I
be
don't
running
have two
back and
people.
forth.
yeah, you need to run each frame, or it dumps it off the end.
You get a lot of
Whereas
extra
the
wax.
cow,
Carl said.
Yeah.
Carl says
the
it's
cow, and it just
2,400
comes
new.
right out into the tray.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see it anymore. Where'd it go? Don't know.
Yeah, I don't. He talked about the cider press. I don't know. I saw Bob's video, but it seems like I get almost as much out of my uncapping just by putting it out in the shed when it gets to be 110 degrees and drain it off out of the.
Yeah, I actually undid mine from the last one, and the puck is so hard it's just jammed in the bottom now. So now I gotta
Really?
bang it out of there. Yeah, so I can put it in the melter.
Well, that's what I've been doing, Phil. Is that method? On a little bit bigger scale, using my
Mhm.
wax melter
Right.
to dump all my cappings in there and just sort of use some heat.
Mm.
Turn the heat up slowly, but once you get much over, you're saying 110. Once you get up to that or over that, then the honey starts to darken a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it like 110 degrees is like the temperature inside the shed on a good 100-degree day here in Texas. It's not at the source. So inside there, it's probably 100 degrees inside the box.
Yeah. Which, that works.
Hey, I get, on 100 pounds of honey, I probably get 5 or 6 pounds off the cappings. That's after I've already tried to drain them the normal way. So it's worth it to wait a couple of days and drain that off. Stir them up a couple of times.
I used to get, after I uncapped, and I just had a tank under there,
Mhm.
and I would scoop it out into 5-gallon pails, and I would get 1-to-1 by volume. I would have, say, a dozen pails of cappings, and when I was done draining it using the method I mentioned, it would be half honey by volume. I'd get 6 pails of honey off it.
That's just the cappings, right? That's when you shave them off, though. Yeah,
Right.
I estimate I get about 20%, maybe 25% off my cappings. And that's the night of, the extraction. That's not waiting at
Yeah.
all. But then I get another.
Like these kind of drain off because the tank has a screen and a gate and everything, so they
Right,
drain fairly well. But even after that, they're about half honey. That's a lot of honey.
Yeah. Especially if you got really thick frames. But what I don't do anymore is put them out for the bees, because the bees just make a mess of that, and you end up losing half your cappings. It seemed like to me, all over the ground and everywhere else.
Yeah. You know, all that rendering I've been doing this summer of those frames. Boy, I've pulled a lot of wax out of there. I haven't weighed it yet, but
I bet.
there's 50 or 60 pounds of wax there, I think.
I need to do some of that. I'm finally getting, you know, I'm going into like year 4, so I'm starting to get some really nasty frames. I don't throw any.
That's what really amazed me, because my operation's not very old, so none of my stuff is very old. But boy, some of those combs, it's winter. Bees make a mess of it in the winter.
Mhm.
Oh, shoot.
Everybody's quiet tonight.
What were you trying to pull up, Bob?
I was looking for that capping spinner.
Oh, okay.
The guy also has one of those licensed bottling valves like I have, the air operated ones that he's getting rid of.
Mhm.
He's in Illinois. I'm just trying to find where it's at. Yeah, beekeeping, buy, sell, trade, North America. Everybody up north is selling stuff. Nobody down south. So, $1,800. How much is that thing new? That cap and spinners, the junior one.
Carl said 2,400.
2,400. So he's trying to lose $600 on it plus shipping.
Well, that's less than half the senior. The senior
Right.
62.
He's selling that bottling valve that I bought for 400 and something bucks for $650. But he might be selling the tank as well. So let me click that. Let's see if it'll show. There's Carl. Hey, Carl.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not too much. Let's see. What
It's
you doing
popcorn
tonight?
night. Right, Charlie?
Charlie.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a bottling tank, 50-liter bottling tank, but it's not heated, and he's got the air valve on it. And it looks like
Well, there it is.
No, that's not. That's handles that he's got on it. So same guy. And there's a guy in Pennsylvania selling. What's he selling? Medium frames.
Carl, have we met before?
We have met, yes. Once before, about 4 months ago, 3 months ago.
Where are you located? That might help me.
Northeast PA, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area.
Okay.
So, up towards New York.
Been to that
a little
area
bit.
once, but not recently.
Yeah, well, good for you.
I'm not sure how to take that.
I'm saying it's a compliment to you that you weren't back. Bob, that spinner, brand new Maxon spinner is running around $2,400 for that spinner.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on it now. It's a junior.
Yeah, it's a smaller one.
Carl looks like he's waxing frames over there.
I am, and
I can see
anybody
get
want to
that.
tell me if there's an easier way? I'm using a paintbrush right now. So
Get a big get a foam
4-inch
roller.
roller for me.
Yeah, or get you a big vat and dip them.
well, that was another option, but this was like spare at a moment because I ran out of supers, and I'm actually getting into a goldenrod flow, and I built up my
Really?
operation so much that I do not have the equipment. So guess what? I got plenty of deep boxes. I'm running with it.
It blows my mind when I see you guys in your condensed seasons like that. We're just sitting around waiting for. We've got a good month to go before anything. We need rain and cooler weather. We need to get about middle of September before we worry about any goldenrod.
Usually
Well, Carl,
it is the first or second week
No,
of September, but I'm seeing a lot of goldenrod popping, and they're bringing a lot of the pollen in goldenrod already. I was in the hives today in my yard here at the house, and there's 36 hives here, and I'm not seeing a lot of nectar yet, but I'm seeing a lot of pollen, which is common for that, you know.
Oh,
So
yeah. I saw pollen on my bees out at the country a week ago too, and I was really shocked. I know there can't be any nectar unless they're getting it off of plants that are growing on the edge of the ponds. Now, there are some flowers that bloom around the edge of the ponds, but that's
well,
the
it's
only
funny because
they could possibly.
Brad was Phil. You and Brad were talking about those. You were talking about 5-frame nukes, and Brad was talking about the 6x3s.
Mhm.
And this was the first year that I ran some of those 6x3s. And it's funny about some of the comments that Brad said that when they go queenless, that they'll just run like that, especially if they have a flow going on. And I found that out. And I have one that I'm having a heck of a time getting it back to 3x3 queens, you know. The other, I only started, I tried it this year and I have 5 of them set up, and 4 of them are very, very strong. That's what I'm actually doing now because I want to put the deep boxes on them because they're packed out. They're ready to go. As soon as the flow starts, they're ready to go into them right now. So I'm actually going to drop these 4 boxes on 2 of them tomorrow. 2 boxes and 2 boxes, so I have plenty of room, so I don't have to worry anything for a week at least, or 2, if they do start bringing a bunch of nectar in. So fortunately, I'm lucky here where I'm at in Northeast PA. Last year, I had a very good flow for goldenrod. So, but years before, it's like on and off. I've had years before there's little, and then other years where it's very good. So I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. So, and I keep on watching you Canadian people because you run these 6x, and I watched Ian about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and he was laying it out there saying, yeah, if you open it up and if you look, it's like a chimney. If they're working good, it's full of bees going right up to the top, and they're filling it up with honey and stuff. And boy, I tell you what, I was noticing that, and then when he said that, it was like proof in the pudding. Like, yeah, there you go. He's telling you right out that if you have a problem, you could tell, 666. If you open that super up and you look and you go, oh, there's no bees in this section. There are only a couple. You open the next section up and it's just like a chimney. If it's full, all right, that queen's doing fine. You have a problem in this first box, and I did learn that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, they're technically shared supers, but they're not really. They just kind of go straight up.
Yeah, and I was happy to hear you say, Brad, about overwintering, because I've been debating how I'm going to handle this whole situation. Am I going to leave that and go in the winter and see how it works out? And I just heard you say that nope, let them go to springtime. So that's
well, it works here, but it's very different climates, different places.
Yeah.
So are you going
our
to?
bees are so brutalist that they eat almost nothing all winter.
So are you going, Carl? Are you going to leave supers on them for the winter? Or are you going to push them down into one box?
You know what? It's Phil. Did I hear you say it's your 4th year?
I'm going. Well, I celebrated my 3-year bee anniversary on July the 10th. I got my bees in the middle of the summer 2020.
Okay, so I'm in my 4th year right now. So I mean, this I'm just a little above you on that, but other years I was taking the honey I could take and feeding the hell out of them afterwards because I have thank God I have a good supply of people that want the honey. So I've hey, sugar's cheaper than honey is, so I've been feeding back in that, and I've been doing okay with it. The first year and the second year I didn't handle it the right way. Last year I did a pretty good job with it, and I've been on top of it. In the wintertime I check them and I oxale vaporize them and stuff like that, and I keep after that, and I've been actually using some candy boards and stuff. It's been working very good for me. So I can't complain. So I'm kind of a crap player. I'll keep throwing those dice,
So yeah, I was gonna.
I split some hives. July 20th, I split hives. Corey Stevens, I got 10 queens from him. June the 9th, and guess what? July, I didn't take my honey supers off until mid-July, almost the end of July, which is unusual for me because of the drought we had this year. They stayed on because the flow stayed going right until almost the end of July. So I actually did some splits the end of July, and I've been successful for them, but I've been requeening some stuff. So working it, you know.
Did I hear you saying you're gonna pull that fall honey and try to sell it?
Well, it matters how it goes, Phil. Honestly, like I said, one year I did really well with the fall honey, and the next year it wasn't quite as well. So I'm going to see how the flow is. If I have a really good flow, then yes, I will pull and leave as much as I can leave. But if it's not a good flow, it may just stay on there.
Okay.
I'm going to be playing it by the weather, and you know, one thing that I was brought up on was my father was a farmer back in the 50s and 60s. Was nature takes care of itself. So I'm going to watch and see how things are going and see how the flow is, and try and give them enough to take care of themselves. If I have to feed, I'm going to feed too, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know,
so
I started selling at the farmer's market, and I sell 20 to 25% of what I sell is the fall honey. There's just certain people like it.
They seem to like the goldenrod. They really do.
A lot more than I thought I would find. So I'm glad I have it. So I'm hoping to get some more this year because I'm going to run out in another like 3 times at the market. I'll be completely out of the fall honey.
I'm not to that point where I'm going to the markets. Fortunately, I got a big family and big friend base, and I'm to the point now where I went out and got the LLC this year, just for a little bit of protection, and we actually went and designed labels and stuff like that, and just placed an order for the labels. So our spring honey is still downstairs. I got 220 pounds in the honey creaming machine. And I think I have about 35 gallons in the bottling tank yet. And we have been selling some because people have been pretty much knocking our doors a little bit. So we have been selling some, but we're trying to put it off until we get our labels in and stuff like that.
Right. Well, you're never going to have enough honey as long as you're giving it to your big family.
Well, I'm not giving it away. I'm not giving it all away, but
as long as they're customers first.
Yep.
I give away to family, but the jars keep getting smaller and smaller as I get more of a customer base. You're like, why are you giving me this little jar? You used to give me this jar.
Yeah, it moves around a little bit, you know. So
can't hear anybody again.
We can hear you.
But you know, I'm working it, and I'm trying, and you know, I've been working my queens in and out, and like I had today, we worked the bees really heavily, myself and my wife, and we had I think 34 hives today when we started. Well, we did some combining and stuff and requeening, and we're down to 28.
Yeah,
you know,
you and I are pretty much the same size. That's about what I've got.
Yeah, but that's in this yard. We have another yard at her brother's house.
Oh, okay.
With another, I think, 16 or 18 hives in it. And but like today, we were going through them, and it was like I saw some things I didn't like, and we were in agreement. We were like, you know what? That's why we got some Corey Stevens queens in. They were virgins. We got 10 in, and we got 8 of them to take.
That's good.
Right after they took, we actually did some splits. So we got another 4 or 5, I think, out of that were off that stock, and we already used up most of those. And we've been like today, we're like looking through, and we're just like, you know what, this queen's in her 2nd year, and let's just pinch her and let's do a paper combine, and let's, you know, if we do have a good flow, this hive it's got a good amount of bees in it, and let's get that fresh queen in there and let her start rolling. And we're adding 4 frames of brood. So it's not going to be a big loss. Next week we'll combine it completely, and it should be ready to go if we do have a nice flow. Not only that, we'll be ready for the winter. So, but I do have a question for everybody. I treated throughout the winter with Oxella last winter, The springtime also.
hold on. Let me stop you. You can say you treated, but you can't on this channel. You can't say what you treated for.
No,
I
you
just have-
can, except on Mondays. You
I
can't,
never said what I treated.
you can't say the M word on
I
No
never
Monday.
Mite
said what I
Monday.
treated for.
Go ahead.
But I treated through the winter, and in the spring we actually dropped the Amatraz strips in, and now we haven't touched them at all, with no treatment or anything. 2 weeks ago, I got back from vacation, and out of 46 hives at that time, we pulled 4 mite tests, and it was funny because I did the first 2 with the Dawn dish soap. We had absolutely nothing. And I said, no. I said, that's not right. So we pulled out the alcohol. We did 2 more. We only found 1 mite. Would you guys oxel it, or would you let it ride for now, or what would you guys do?
When was that test?
A week and a half ago.
Okay.
So, what is your treatment program that you use each year?
Well, Charlie, it's a work in progress. Like I said, I'm always rolling the dice, and I got the vaporizer last fall. I got the vaporizer, so I hit them real heavy in the fall, and then I did treat them a handful of times through the winter. In the springtime, I hit them with the Amatraz. Was it Apiary, the strips?
Hiprovar.
Yep, I dropped the strips in,
Yeah.
and then when we were coming close to our flow, I pulled them back out, and usually July the 4th is when I pull my honey. Usually my flow's done.
Yeah. So your honey flows April, May, and June.
Yep, it's very similar to yours. But this year, because we had that drought and then we got all the rain, my flow actually lasted until into the 3rd week of July. So last year I used the Formic Pro in mid-August, but
That's a little
being
bit.
my flow ran
That's a little
so
bit.
late, I
It
didn't
was a little
do it.
bit on the hot side that time, wasn't it?
Yep, and it was
I
just
wouldn't
too
be doing
hot
that
here.
in August.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't do it because how hot it was, But that's why I went and I tested to check and see. But I only found 1 mite out of 4 tests. So,
Mm.
So
How many hives?
I'm sorry.
How many colonies?
At the time I tested, I had 46.
But you tested how many colonies
I tested 4
4.
colonies out of the 46.
and found 1
2
mite?
different bee yards. I did one end and the other end, and found nothing in one bee yard. In the other bee yard, I did like the top one side and then like the middle of the other side, and I literally found 1 mite.
Okay. Well, the way I do it, Carl, is I have all screen bottom boards, so I treat anyway, and then I check for drops. Okay. And that just really tells me if I have an issue or not. But I do all of them. I try to do it once a month this time of year for sure, but I will do the multiple day treatment sometime between now and, middle of next month.
I was actually debating that.
We have a little more time, but what I've found, because I do that, is you can have 2 or 3 in a row that don't have hardly any mites, and then you'll have one that's just completely loaded. And if you don't test every one, it may be hanging out there. And if it crashes, then they all end up with mites. But let me just read you what I saw today on a 24-hour mite drop on I had 10 colonies, and there's a couple of them I can't get the boards under. They're nukes and whatnot. But the hive 1 had 22. Hive 2 had 126. Hive 3 had 2. Hive 5 had 80. Hive 7 had 10. Hive 8 had 120. Hive 9 had 20. And Hive 10 had 1,270 estimated.
Holy. You got sick of counting, huh?
Well, when I see that many, I just count a few rows and do an average and multiply it times the whole sheet. I mean, it's just so many. You're not gonna count them all, but it's a lot when you get into the thousands. But so that's what I'm saying is now there were several that had pretty good amount of mite drop, but that's what I've found testing them that way is you'll have that 1 or 2, and that's what I don't understand about people who have that 10 or 20% rule. I'm like, if you don't stumble across that one that's really bad, you may not treat your whole apiary.
Now you see, Phil, other years, and like I said, I'm only into the 4th year. Other years when I did the test, I found mites. I mean, the one that threw me
Right.
off was when I wasn't finding anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well-
I have intentions. I was actually going to vaporize them anyway. And
Yeah.
because I'm at the point right now where I'm coming into another flow and I don't want to put the Formic Pro on, even though they say it doesn't affect
Yeah.
it.
It's
But,
not really an option for me down here.
Yeah,
but Phil,
and
up here, we did that. I did that up here when I took them out of the barn. I mean, I had 76 hives. I did 76 washes, and they were all the same. They were pretty much zeros. I think I found 2 mites, if I remember right. One or
Yeah,
two.
I'm not
But if-
surprised with that because they are coming off of that brood break. I just don't think mites reproduce without brood. And I think that's what happened to me last year because I was getting those. I would test my whole yard down at the country, which we were under a severe drought and had been even in the spring. So those bees went broodless for a long time last year. As a matter of fact, I thought they were queenless a lot of times when I would look in there, but they weren't acting queenless. And I would find, they were just eating every egg that was laid because they had nothing to feed those baby bees. But so I was I might do the whole yard and find 1 or 2 mites. So, I did my regular December thing, but then I said, oh, those bees don't have mites. I didn't check them until about a month ago, and they are loaded with mites. I mean, absolutely, because we had a wet spring and they built back up.
I don't care what the test. All bees are going to have mites.
well, Charlie, that's what threw me off. I was like,
That's true, but I know that in that case, I say it was the drought, but those bees had hardly any mites, and I was doing the OA and checking the drops. It wasn't like I was testing here and there. I was zapping every one of them, and they were broodless, and they weren't dropping mites.
Yeah, I kind of
the
disagree
mites had nowhere to hide.
on that one, Charlie. I don't necessarily agree that all bees and all hives have mites. So, we're about to start doing our tests and stuff like that up here, but I would say,
yeah, but
in
James,
general,
you did a special test, you did a special treatment there.
I did, but I would say in general, I think you should not be surprised if you find mites. But as far as they all have it, I think it's definitely available to them all. I think for sure, and I think anybody that figures they don't, But I think it really depends as to the bees, the hygienics of the bees, the treatments, the way you manage your bees. I think there's lots and lots of variables that go into that.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
And as far as a brood break, Phil, that's the other thing. I'm convinced, and I'm going to do some checking this year. As everybody knows, last year was my first year in the bee barn. I'm going to check because I'm convinced with the number of bees that I swept up off the floor, and Brad's going to laugh at me because I don't know how many times I've text Brad. It's like, is this normal? Garbage can after garbage can of bees coming out of the bee barn. I think they're brooding all winter long in there. Now, maybe not large broods, and talking with Ian there a little bit, I think it completely depends as to what they have in there for pollen stores and things like this. But I'm going to take a look and see because I think with the strength that they came out of the bee barn last year, that's the only explanation is they had to be brooding in there all winter long.
I don't know. I mean, don't they go in there with 30 or 40,000 bees and they drop down to about 10,000? That's a lot of bees on the floor.
Well, go back and take a look at what my hives looked like this spring when I posted that video. I mean, you couldn't get more bees in those boxes. You physically could not get more bees in those boxes.
Yeah, but you also were doing a few things that are non-conventional, feeding wise.
Yes, that might do something about the mites, but that's not going to change the.
Now I'm talking about your feeding apparatus
Oh, okay.
Did you feed them when they were in the barn?
I did do a little bit of feeding while they were in the barn there. Yes.
Yeah,
along with a little bit of pollen.
So,
Well,
you know,
Charlie,
So-
when I make my candy boards up, even in January when I put them on, late January, mid January, I always add pollen to my candy boards. You know, and
Right.
other people say that you shouldn't do that, but it seems to be working okay for me. You know,
It is like everything else, as far as I'm concerned. Beekeeping is super local, and what works for you, great. If you found something that works for you, then do it. You know, if it's in a
Sure.
positive way, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, like you were saying, you're treating your hives with OA through the wintertime. I've been starting to do that for the last 2 winters. A fella told me that 4 or 5 years ago that he was hitting them at least once a month through the winter, and I try to get
That's
them
about what I did.
at least once or twice a month, depending on whether you got like a 48-degree day there, you know, that they're loose. You vaporize them. I think you maintain that low threshold of mites, which helps helps them survive better. And I use this Apis biologic, which that I can tell you right now, that is phenomenal.
I
when it
use
comes-
that this year too. Yeah.
I mean, they come out of the spring like I've never seen before in my life. And so my plan is I start treating in late July, early August. This year I was going to use Guard. It was hot and humid, and I wasn't comfortable with that, so I went back to my old plan. I was opportunity. I found me a pack of 60 strips of Apiary. I dropped 70 strips in. That's what they're in there right now. September 1st of September, they're coming out. Usually we get a cool spell around Labor Day weekend, somewhere in mid-September, and I'll put Formic Pro in. And then after that, October through February of the next year, I'll be doing oxalic acid a couple times a month. I did do those things where I was hitting them twice a month, twice a week for so many weeks, 6 consecutive weeks, and a lot of work. And I didn't do some other things, you know, it's like Formic Pro and all that. And I actually lost a bunch of hives here several years ago. So,
Now,
Christ
Charlie, do
almighty,
you
we
put
got
pollen
Mite
around
jacked.
the bow?
huh? I don't know. I treat from, as soon as the supers are off in July, come the end of July, I'm start treating for mites all the way till February of next year. 3 different types of products.
Wow, that's the kitchen sink.
Well, I got tested last year from the National Honeybee Survey. I had a mite load of a 0.2.
I'm gonna tell you, Carl, that Charlie's vote is blast them. My vote's blast them too. for different
Well,
reasons.
I think what you know,
Holy shit.
the mites, I mean, it's like where I'm at. I'm in Maryland, and Carl's up
Bob's
there.
in
He's about 2.5 hours north
Yeah, about 2.5
of
hours.
me. He's about 2.5 north. And as far as going broodless, I'll say that they might shut down slightly, but they might have a brood pattern of maybe 2 inches throughout the winter, especially in early February. They're starting to brood back up. So
We
they
need
never,
we need a swear jar. So every time you say the M word,
word.
you need to send Bob a super chat.
There you go.
I'm gonna have.
And I'll just point out that Charlie did say the M word. It sounded like that, but it was actually MIGHT. He said that a few times. Let's not be too hard on Charlie.
But
I
now
know
I'm
I'm gonna-
confused. I thought we could say the M word any day of the week except Monday.
Go back in.
I got
I know
Or-
the rule.
we got
I'm gonna have-
M word overload.
I'm
so
gonna have-
anyway, I mean, that's what I do. That, like I say, it works for me. Now, is it going to work for you? I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I treat throughout the year I do not treat while the honey super's on. And that's kind of blows my mind. There's people around here, oh, I got something, putting Formic Pro or something like on when the honey super's on. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you risking contaminating a food product? But anyway.
I know it's going to be a long time before I can treat up here. We just went through an additional 89 hives today. And I got, on average, I have between 6 and 7 sheets of brood in pretty much, I'm going to say 80% of the hives. So, yeah, I guess I'm kind of afraid now pulling the honey boxes off with that much brood about to hatch out. I'm kind of concerned with having an over influx of swarms here now because I don't know where they're all going to fit. So
yeah,
I'm putting boxes on top with some of the feeders, hoping that there'll be enough room in there, or they will take that. I mean, they don't take.
Well, I mean, I watched that short video that you put out, and like you said, I mean, those brood frames you had there were fabulous. And it just wasn't one; it was both sides of them, and there was, like you say, 6 or 7 of them in there, and they're all the same.
And all of the hives of that one picture I just sent you and Bob there, Charlie. I don't know if you want to bring it up, but there's 89 hives at that apiary, and they are on average 6 to 7 frames of brood, and good brood frames. Like, I hate to sound like I'm complaining that I have too much brood, but in all honesty, I'm a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. I mean, you can figure all that stuff hatches out.
So what are you worried about, though? You worried they're going to swarm on you?
Well, see, he's putting everything in the shed with just one box.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen
this episode is brought to you by Oxalic Acid Napavar Strip, also by Formic Pro and Oxybate. And don't forget LaRobbie's Vaporizer next time you're out to your local bee supply store.
So, James, have you seen that Gus Mitchell had a video I think it was last fall when he was getting his ready for winter. And man, he puts so many bees down in that bottom box, he can't even get the lid shut on them. They're all over the outside. And he says they'll be fine. And he throws sugar on them to get them because he's taking all their honey away.
Yeah,
he has a great.
He does all of their honey. Even I took everything even out of the brood box. So about 2 weeks ago, we went through and we pulled everything that had honey and brood on it. We pulled it all up above a queen excluder, and we gave them drawn comb. So basically honeycomb that I had spun out. We gave them that down below. And that queen just completely laid those things up from corner to corner. And now I have all of those bees, like we took the honey boxes off. They've all got great big beards on the front of them. They're boiling out of the top when I throw the feeder bucket on there. And I have 6 to 7 frames of brood that are going to be hatching out sometime within the next 10 to 16 days. Like it's, yeah.
Hey, James, I live about 10 minutes from Man Lake, 15 minutes from Man Lake. You want me to rent a tanker and bring you up a batch of Pro Sweet? Because it sounds like that's what you're going to need.
Oh, they all have, we just put 89 feeder pails on. So Alan and I just finished that.
You might go broke.
Sugar's cheaper.
You'll go broke.
Yeah, but you got to go to Walker Bee Ranch Bee Supply Store and buy your Pro Suite, and and all your bee supplies, and then you could also stop by in Walker Bee Ranch Learning Yard.
Oh man,
where you can possibly get stung.
No, there's no possibly. Where we guarantee you will get stung.
No, you're marketing it incorrectly. You get a free.
Free swarm lure.
No, what is the what do they call it when you get stung? That treatment?
Introductory apitherapy course.
Yeah, you get that's it. You get a free apitherapy session.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I'm going to go unload a bunch of stuff here, guys. But maybe if you're still on there when I get in the house, maybe I'll join you back.
I'm
All
paid
right.
already at
Good to-
11.
Good to hear from you, James.
No old man naps on Saturdays. That's oh my
Be
god.
advised, he has frame feeders for sale.
This chat brought to you by Walker Bee Ranch. Walker Bee Ranch for all your beekeeping needs.
If you guys just wait a little bit longer, you'll have hornet rustler traps.
Hornet
Oh,
Rustler.
God.
Get those hornets. Hornet Rustler only at Walker Bee Ranch.
We got dead bee
Beewares.co.
rustler over here.
Dead Bee Rustler. Get your dead queens at Walker Bee Ranch.
Charlie, no Hive Alive plug. There you go. Oh my gosh.
Dead queens shipped every Tuesday
Oh, well,
from
speaking of
Walker Bee
Mike.
Ranch.
Hey, I'm sorry, by the way. I heard about the dead queens, but I didn't hear. Bob, were they all dead, or I didn't catch all
Just
that.
half. Just
Just
half.
half. Only
Just
half.
half?
Yeah,
They
just
died on
26 out of-
Bob's watch.
Yeah, they died on my
I mean, he was running a sale.
Aren't you
on
an
it. I don't know what you
exterminator by
expect.
trade?
they were geriatric queens.
They were
You know why they're
$40.
up
Now
now.
you can buy a queen and a cage for $20.
Half price bees.
You can reuse that cage though, Bob. So
Right.
you know,
That
You
that
can
cage will
sell the
hold,
cage for $10.
Still got candy in it.
that cage will hold
There you
more
go.
dead queens.
Yeah, I can put 4 or 5 more. You can get 5 for the price of 1. That's the. Oh my gosh! Hey, but I
completely
do. While
reusable
you guys
cage,
are
and they don't
talking
stink
about
much at all.
while you guys are talking about Mite so heavily, I still have some Saracel Mite check cups on the website. Since we're doing plugs, about
Plug it all, man. Plug it all.
yeah, it would take about 2 seconds.
Now wait a minute.
We
isn't
have
this your
we got
show?
marking pens and
Mm-mm.
swarm
Nope.
command.
I ordered marking pins, and after you order them and they take your money, then you get a nice email that says, "Oh, they're back ordered for 7 to 10 days." So,
Oh yeah.
which means 3
Well, we'll
weeks,
keep
right?
your money.
Oh yeah, they took my money right now, right? Oh, sorry, can't ship that right now. So I'm waiting on that. My Apis is getting shipped back to Canada on Monday, waiting on replacements. So, yeah. So right now, we got swarm lure. That's what we got. That nobody needs this time of year. But I sold 2 today on Amazon. So next, I'll get a bad review that says this swarm lure is not working.
Didn't
In the
catch any
middle of
swarms in
August.
October.
I didn't catch a damn swarm in October or November or December. I don't. This shit don't work.
I waited all winter and I didn't get a swarm. This swarm rustler.
So Bob, you were talking about. I wasn't on here that night. I was listening, but you were talking about the Amazon return policy.
It
And-
sucks.
It's terrible. I ordered some paper bags just for like they're supposed to be like lunch bag size.
Mhm.
When they came, they were like tiny little things.
Right.
And I went back and I checked my order, and maybe I made a mistake, but they had all their pictures. They actually had one that was next to like a shopping cart that looked like it had a bunch of tomatoes falling out the side of it. Well, I thought those tomatoes were Roma tomatoes. When I went and checked real close, those tomatoes were those little cherry tomatoes. So these bags were tiny. Okay, but they didn't have the size on it. So when I returned them to Amazon, I told them that the website was misleading. So they let me print a shipping label. I put the shipping label back on it, took it down to the post office. The lady at the post office said, "We can't take this. This weighs too much for the postage that they sent me the label for." Okay, I didn't weigh it. They sent me the label for the product that they sent me. So when I took them to the post office, they wouldn't take it back for their postage. So I just got on the chat with Amazon, and Amazon goes, the vendor had to pay for that postage that
Yes.
in that label. Okay, so I get on the Amazon. She goes, "Well, don't worry, we're going to refund you and you can just keep the product. That's what they told me. And I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. Because I know that money's coming out of somebody's pocket for the product and for the shipping.
My pocket when I
Yeah. I mean, I felt fine about it because I wasn't out any money for something I didn't think that I probably should be out, but
Well,
at least they should have got their product back.
So with the swarm lure, not so big a deal, to be honest with you. But with like the pens that I buy and then resell,
right?
So I've paid for the product, so I don't have like as big a margin, right? Then I pay for the shipping. I pay Amazon, right? Then the customer gets it and says, "Oh, yeah, I don't want this anymore." So now I pay for shipping again to get it back, and then Amazon charges me like the whole dollar amount that the customer paid. So I paid for shipping twice, all the money, and then sometimes you get the stuff back and sometimes you don't. Like I had someone send pens back, right? They said, "Oh, well, there's one missing," which was BS. I thought it would have been a red pin was missing, right? This year's, but the white pin was missing. But then it looks like somebody ran them over with a truck.
Oh, God.
Right? Now, these things are steel. I mean, they're pretty heavy duty, right? How does that happen? Because they come in a big box of little boxes, so they were not damaged when they left. So I don't know.
Sounds like they fell out of the car in the driveway and somebody backed over them and one of them couldn't be found.
Yeah, that's, or they oh, I only need a white pen. Let me go ahead and send the rest of these back and say it was missing,
But yeah, I thought that was kind of, telling that Amazon because I knew they weren't coming from Amazon because I had to wait too long to get them. If they come from Amazon, I get them the next day. We have the big warehouse here in Capel. But
well, I know about all my own.
They get to decide whether or not you get, the vendor gets to pay for everything. It doesn't make much sense.
Well, if you send it into Amazon, then you got to rent space in their warehouse, right? And then they still charge you a fee. So it's like the benefit is you don't have to do anything. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to do the returns, but I don't see the product ever again either. So if it's a return, I don't think I make that money.
I got to check out. I'll talk to y'all later.
Catch you later, Charlie.
All right, Charlie. But yeah, it's chaos over there.
$1 trillion company.
That is the reason why he's got all the money, right?
Yep.
And we're struggling to make it. But it is what it is. That's
so how many did you get split out, Bob?
28.
Not bad.
So
are you going to keep the 28 and get rid of all your mean bees?
Well, at this point, the idea was list queens on Facebook, right? Where I could sell half of them and keep half of them. Well, I ended up keeping half of them, but the other half of them didn't keep at all. So that's not an option, but it is what it is.
So I know that,
hold on. Let me address something here. I see a side chat about my my bank. I've banked the same way for going on 3 years, and I've had no issues keeping my queens. So I'm not saying that I did everything 100% correctly, but I've never had 50% loss on queens in my queen bank, period, for whatever reason. So, I mean, yeah, it's possible. I mean, I did have some cap brood and some open brood, and they were sitting right on top of them, just like I've done every year in the past. And this is the first time I've had this kind of queen loss. So, I mean, anything's possible. So could it be my fault? Absolutely, 100%. Probably is my fault, but I don't know what it is. So there you go. Said my piece. And I'm tired and getting cranky, so I apologize if I sounded snippy there. I'm not trying to. But
I'm sorry, I had to step out, but you were talking about banking queens. I know I called you when I was, I had virgin queens and asked you how you banked them.
Mhm.
And I think I put 8 virgin queens banked, and you even told me at that point I'd never tried ever virgins because I just couldn't use them at that point. And I banked them, I think, for 5 days. And I remember I gave 3 of them to my cousin, and I used 5 of them, and I think 4 out of 5 took. I had no problem.
but they made it, right? I mean,
Yeah, they
of
all
them
made it.
So,
All 8 of them made it. All 8 of them, like I said, after 5 days, I think I gave 3 to my cousin, and I kept 5 of them, and 4 out of 5 of them I ended up getting mated and in the hives and stuff like that. So I had no problem the way that you told me to bank them because I called you on that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting in my work truck when I was talking to you. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you were
I've
doing it
never
at
had
work.
problem with it before, you know, and I was trying, to be honest with you, I was trying to split a little bit of them every night with the thought of the less that was in the bank, the less bees had to take care of them. And I just got down to the last 2 blocks. Now, this hadn't been a week. This has been 2 days. So, I mean, I don't know.
So describe the bank to those of us who don't know.
Okay, so shook all the bees down, right? So the queen, everything's in the bottom. Put a queen excluder over it. I have brood, basically bring up all the brood to the middle box. So the bees have to come up, just like prepping for the split, right? And then on top of that box in the middle, I placed another box, but I pulled up some brood into that top box and placed all of the queens right in between them. So it's on brood and it's in between brood. And the bees came up like they're supposed to and covered them. And half of the bees made it and half of the bees didn't make it. So
And did you say that that top box you're going to want open brood up there?
do what? Did I say that?
No, is that part of it? That the top box where you put the queens between the frames of brood in the top box, is that open brood up there? Or does it matter?
I know I had one frame of capped on one side and I think one frame of open on the other side. But I mean, like I said, you can watch the video. They were all.
But does it matter? Like, is that what you're trying to? I'm asking for.
Oh, I mean, they're saying that's what it should be, and I've just never had an issue with it before. And I've done 25 queens at a time, and banked them for weeks. Well, not weeks, but over a week, while people were coming and picking them up and buying them, and no problem. But 2 days this time gone. So I don't know. Don't know.
Low battery. Low battery. Low battery.
Hey, you got a low battery.
Yeah.
Someone's running on low juice.
I got 4 of those, and I'd like to fling them across the room every once in a while.
But yeah, I mean, but see, the other thing is, and I know Jose knows what he's doing, but he's the only person that I have bought queens from that doesn't put attendants in the cage with them. It's just the queen in there, and then in the box when they're shipped, there's attendants in that postal box. So
my understanding that the battery box idea is perfectly viable, and some say that it's actually even better.
I mean, yeah, I've never had problems with Jose's queens either. So is it a fluke? I doubt it. It's probably something I did, right? So I mean, I'm not unclaiming responsibility, but I've just never had this happen before.
Yeah.
But
well, you know,
live and learn.
I think that's key. I think that's key for us. Is it's not as important to lay blame as it is to just kind of solve the puzzle.
Right.
Right. Because then you learn for next time.
Well, you know, like I said, when they come, the candy's all down, all the cages are out, right? There's cardboard wrapped around them, and there's tape wrapped around them this way, and then they're rubber banded this way. And so half of the cage is blocked with cardboard, and then the bees feed them through this, the top half of it. And most, the first day, all those queens made it into colonies. The second day, I didn't have any dead ones, but I mean, Thursday was the first day, right? Friday was the second day. So I guess this would be actually the third day.
That's only 3 days. So what about temperature? Do you think temperature might have had something to do with it?
Well, supposedly where Jose's at, it's hotter than it is here.
Yeah, they both.
Yeah, but you're in the third box, and I know that there's a lot of heat comes out of a brood chamber, and it all goes up. I'm just throwing things out there.
Oh yeah, it could have. I mean, it could have been. It definitely could have been. Now I saw where Mark said, "Did I spray them with water?" I did not spray them with water when I put them in the box, but once I put them into the bank there, I felt like they're gonna feed them, right? They're gonna take care of them. So, and
I mean, wouldn't it be recommended to water them a little bit anyway?
what's that?
Wouldn't it be
Well,
recommended?
okay, so when you get them, there's like a maxi pad in there, right?
I heard you say that. Yeah.
Drenched in water, so the bees that are in there,
okay, so
they have water, and I took them right into the colony. So 3 days to starving. So what about water? Yeah, so that's the thing is that I didn't spray them with water, but there's water here on the property, and I mean I've got a damn kiddie pool full of water out there with stuff floating in it for the bees to land on. So I don't know, but I'll figure it out. I'll probably be like, you know what? I'll probably be going back there and be like, you know what? What I should have done, which I didn't do, is that top high feeder. I should have poured some feed in it right at the top of it, just for kicks and giggles. I just felt that I was going to be going in and out of there. I didn't want to be sloshing that lice and feeder around, but I did add feed to him today. But a little too late now.
Bob's favorite frame.
Which one? The medium plastic?
The deep plastic.
Not buying
I hate
any
'em.
more.
I hate them.
Not going to buy any more.
I
didn't
hate 'em.
get the damn
I only bought them
tabs
because
on my
I got a
uncapper.
deal on them at Man Lake. Imagine that they were clearing them out.
Yeah, the those little tabs on the uncapper. I didn't go out there and check those today, Brad, like I wanted to. Forgot all about it. So
I've been trying to weed them out of my operation too. Every time they come through the honey house, they go in a special box.
the just in case I run out of shit box.
Well, no, actually, buddy that gets those zombie queens, he buys them for $2 a piece, so it works for both of us. And this year he came to pick up the zombie queens, and I had 4 boxes of these plastics that I was rendering frames, and I'd actually rendered a few of them, and then I decided, you know what, I'm not going to bother rendering these stupid plastics. So I had 4 boxes of plastic sitting there, and he was loading things up, and I said, hey, deep discount on plastic frames today. I said, you take these 4 boxes, they're free. So I gave them away.
Last year I bought them for $1.45 a frame for deep frames, deep plastic.
Yeah.
And
There's
this
a
year
reason
they're
they're cheap.
$3.20.
I'd get rid of them, Brad, too, but I'm cheap.
Well,
I'm finding that they work well in the colony. They work terrible on the uncapper.
Thanks. That's what I'm going to use them for. I guess I'm going to put these back downstairs.
Well, I mean, that was the thing is that
was a deal breaker for me. That was a deal breaker when they started to just be
So
the
they don't
biggest
extract
pain in the
wood.
butt ever on my uncapper. I just thought, okay, they're going out. It's all wood from here on in.
So they don't uncap well or anything, huh?
well,
Not good
the
for
thing
them.
is,
Well, they don't feed properly.
yeah, they're barely long enough to hold on. If you got the uncapper like I do, they're barely long enough to catch those little pins that come out.
Well, I have the Maxon on chain uncapper.
The one where you put a frame in it and pull
Yeah.
the lever. Oh, I don't know about that one now. It might work fine.
Well, that'd be fine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then I can leave them up
But
there.
I've got an old timey Cowan automatic, and
It was made before plastic
It
frames.
it was made before plastic.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be all right. So if not, I
Agent
put them
says
back.
they don't fit in
I
the
put them back
Hilco.
downstairs and I pull out the wooden. So.
But I think all of that equipment was designed around wooden frames. They didn't say, well, what if they're using these plastic
Oh,
frames?
for sure.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
but I
mean, I was never crazy about them, in my hive. I was never crazy, but I put up with them. It's whatever, big deal. But then when I just cannot make them go through my capper properly, it's like, you're out of here. You're on thin ice anyway. You start doing that, done.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's 11:30. I'm gonna end the broadcast so the hijinks can begin. And Brad just laughs. And we will talk to you guys again soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks, Bob.
Good night, everybody.
All right.